Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Pirates. Summon heroes and build the strongest family. Chapter 26. How dare a mere warship come to seek death? Kill them. Bai Xiao Li Chengfu looked at the lone marine warship rushing towards him, with disdain on his face, and said coldly. He doesn't like to cause trouble, but if trouble comes, he will never show weakness. Not all of his 410 million bounty came from looting towns and chambers of commerce. The marine who once died in his hands had not only 800 but also 1,000. The cannon roared, and countless shells hit Galen's warship, causing countless splashes on the sea around Galen's warship. Occasionally, the cannonballs that were about to hit were cut in half by Galen's sword. These days, Galen, who has been exercising like crazy and hunting pirates everywhere. The level has also been directly upgraded to level 9. And he has the combat power of the A-level Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral. With the toughness passive, Garen can perform far more crazy exercises than other heroes. Galen's warships also began to fire cannons to counterattack. But in addition to making a few gaps in several Sanbao Navy warships, apart from breaking a few masts, there was not much gained for a while. In the world of pirates, the power and accuracy of cannons on conventional ships are extremely limited. Most of the battles on the sea in the pirate world ultimately rely on hand-to-hand combat. For justice, Galen roared angrily, and charged directly towards Bai Xiao with a large sword in his hand. Behind him, countless inspired marine soldiers also tightened their weapons and launched a charge. With a stabbing sound, sparks flew everywhere, and Bai Xiao's pitch-black fist collided fiercely with Galen's big sword. A huge shock wave then swept across the deck of the White Owl, knocking countless weak Sanbao naval minions to the ground. This power. Does the world government want to take direct action against the Kingdom of Flowers? Bai Xiao took a few steps back, feeling the terrifying strength displayed by Galen, and his face instantly became solemn. There shouldn't be such a powerful marine general in the West Blue Branch. So, there is only one answer. This is all a conspiracy of the world government. More than 20 years ago, the strength of the Kingdom of Flowers at its peak made the world governments cautious. In order to prevent the flower country from unifying West Blue like Germa 66, and then challenge the hegemony of the world government. This encouraged naval headquarters to take action and let Garp smash the head of Qingzhou, the strongest naval force in the Kingdom of Flowers at the time. He killed many masters of the navy of the Kingdom of Flowers, severely weakening the strength of the Kingdom of Flowers. And in the more than 20 years since then, we have been encouraging and funding some West Blue countries, constantly challenging the dominance of West Blue in the Kingdom of Flowers, and continuously weakening the Kingdom of Flowers. But now, the world government may no longer be satisfied with encouraging other countries to weaken the Kingdom of Flowers. Instead, they secretly dispatched marine experts to break the tacit understanding between naval headquarters and the navy of the flower country. Kill a few navy armies and directly weaken the strength of the Kingdom of Flowers. Unfortunately, Bai Xiao's Sanbao Navy seems to have become the first target selected by the world government. Bai Xiao's face changed greatly and he hurriedly looked around the sea. After finding no other marine battleships, he said sadly, "Is it just you? What do you think I am? I'm Bai Xiao." Bai Xiao finished speaking fiercely, without any hesitation, directly transformed into the strongest harpy form. Using all his strength, he used his pitch-black claws to strike Galen's chest at an extremely fast speed. Steel Claw. Bai Xiao growled. It combines the ancestral steel fist of the Three Treasures Navy, plus the powerful physical fitness and agility increase brought by the Zone Bird Fruit Eagle Owl form. Although Bai Xiao's steel claws are not as good as the Cone Dragon Cone Nails of Qingzhou, which was once the mainstay of the 8th Treasure Navy. But more than once, he tore the head of a great pirate with a bounty of over 100 million. Facing the White Owl's steel claws with both speed and strength, Galen's eyes were sharp, he did not dodge, and he secretly shouted, "Courage!" Then, Galen suddenly swung his big sword, and while Bai Xiao was attacking him, he slashed at Bai Xiao hard. After several stabs, White Owl's steel claws tore through Galen's courage shield in the sparks. Then he broke through Galen's increasingly proficient armament hockey, leaving several deep claw marks on Galen's chest. Blood flowed horizontally, and blood continued to drip from Galen's chest. Bai Xiao's chest also had a deep scar visible to the bone. Bai Xiao retreated suddenly, his face full of disbelief. How is it possible? There is something wrong with that sword. Bai Xiao could not have been injured so badly. As a strong man who is almost the same generation as Qingjiao, Bai Xiao's armament hockey has long been mastered. Coupled with the powerful constitution increased by zone devil fruit, a casual attack would never leave the slightest wound on his body. But Galen's sword actually released a strange energy when it hit him. It instantly interfered with the flow of armament hockey in his body, causing his defense to drop instantly. Is this why the world government only sent you here? This sea is really vast. Bai Xiao looked at the young Galen and said with emotion. He knew very well that he would not be Galen's opponent now. After barely breaking through the courage shield and Galen's armament hockey, his steel claws only damaged a little of Galen's fur. And that bit of fur is still recovering rapidly. Galen did not answer, but just held the big sword in his hand tightly, intending to pursue the victory and kill Bai Xiao directly under the sword. Etc. Bai Xiao looked at Galen, who was about to rush over, and said hurriedly. There is no need to fight between us. If the world government wants to weaken the Kingdom of Flowers, our Sanbao Navy is willing to cooperate with the world government to take action. Even directly divide or subvert the flower country. Li Chengfu has always wanted to overthrow the Kingdom of Flowers and restore the rule of the Li family. But he had never thought of using the power of world government before. Because in front of the world government, the current Sanbao Navy is just like the Bonanno family that he once supported. Even if the country is successfully restored in the end, no one can tell whether this country belongs to the world government or the Three Treasures Navy. But now, Li Chengfu felt that he had no other choice. Galen gave him no other choice. Sorry, I never said I was a subordinate of the world government. For justice, Galen launched a charge under Li Chengfu's disbelieving eyes. After dozens of quick handovers, Li Chengfu once again suffered several wounds on his body, and was about to escape through the air with the power of the eagle owl fruit. A huge golden sword fell from the sky and directly cut Li Chengfu, who was flying in midair, into two halves together with the white owl. Bai Xiao died, and the Sanbao Navy collapsed immediately. Countless Sanbao sailors either ran for their lives or chose to surrender obediently. In the pirate world where strong men can destroy the world, the victory or defeat between the top strong men is often enough to determine the outcome of a war. On the second day, the news that Marine Branch Rear Admiral Galen killed Bai Xiao and destroyed the Sanbao Navy shocked the entire sea. That guy Bai Xiao actually died in the hands of a Marine. Ah, Marine again. In addition to that guy Garp, Marine has another powerful newcomer. Really, those Garp and Marine. I want to take revenge on my grandchildren. Qingjiao, the pillar of the 8th Treasure Navy near the Kingdom of Flowers, watched the news of Bai Xiao's death and roared angrily. His relationship with Bai Xiao is not considered friendly. But every time I think about my head being hammered flat by Garp, and the jade ice cap that I can only look at but never open again. Qingjiao's hatred towards Garp and Marine is endless. Dad, Marine broke the tacit understanding with us and killed Bai Xiaodongliang. Are we going to avenge him? Looking at the extremely angry Qingjiao, the relatively young Lao Kai touched his head and asked straightforwardly. Revenge. Qingjiao looked at Lao Kai, who seemed to want to avenge Bai Xiao. The anger towards Marine in his heart suddenly turned into extremely melancholy, and then he stared deeply into Lao Kai's eyes and said in a deep voice. Why should we avenge Bai Xiao? Why should we avenge Bai Xiao? That guy Bai Xiao, does he really think that no one knows about some of his thoughts and plans? Even if that Marine star didn't kill Bai Xiao, sooner or later, someone else will kill Bai Xiao. As my grandson and the pillar of the Babao Navy, please clear your mind. If he really wanted to take revenge on Marine, Qingjiao would have had his head crushed by Garp. When the Baoyu ice cap can no longer be opened, Green Pepper can launch it against those Marines in West Blue. Green Pepper is not just one person. What he is thinking about now has never been about revenge for Bai Xiao. Rather, does Bai Xiao's death mean that the world government has begun to take direct action against the Kingdom of Flowers? Today's Babao Navy cannot do without the support of the flower country. Qingjiao looked a little sad, looking at the confused Lao Kai. I began to think about whether to marry our Bao Navy as soon as possible so that the two Navy forces can work together to resist the hostility of the world government. Among the world government, the 5 elders who learned the news that marine rising star Galen had killed the white owl of the flower country were also a little surprised at this time. Can a branch rear admiral kill a guy like Bai Xiao? It seems that another monster has appeared among the Marines. The blonde 5 elders said in admiration. The monster just killed Bai Xiao, but it is far from being called a monster. The bearded 5 elders looked contemptuous, and then said in a deep voice. However, that guy acted recklessly and killed Bai Xiao directly. Will it affect our layout of the Kingdom of Flowers? If the Kingdom of Flowers launches a rebellion with all its strength, the entire West Blue will be in chaos. As the overlord kingdom of West Blue, the Flower Kingdom has 7 other naval armies and a large number of directly governed kingdom troops even without the 3 Treasures Navy. In West Blue, almost no country can stop the army of the Kingdom of Flowers. Don't worry, killing Bai Xiao will be enough to shock the Kingdom of Flowers. Curly hair 5 elders smiled Kaido. The current flower country is no longer the flower country it once was. They were no match for us more than 20 years ago, and they can't stir up any trouble now. He has absolute confidence in the strength of world government and naval headquarters. If the Kingdom of Flowers dares to launch a rebellion, then the Kingdom of Flowers will be completely wiped out. The bald 5 elders, who embraces first-generation Kidetsu, are full of murderous intent. It is impossible for the Kingdom of Flowers to affect the balance of this sea. However, there is a new marine star like Galen among the Marines. Don't you think Marine's power is a bit too strong? The bald 5 elders did not pay attention to the Kingdom of Flowers, which had been weakened by the world government for decades. Instead, they set their sights directly on the naval headquarters. This year's military expenditures for naval headquarters should be appropriately reduced. There is no need for another hero like Garp in Marine. The bald 5 elders finished speaking quietly, and the other 5 elders nodded quickly. Subsequently, Galen's commendation appointment was unanimously approved. Reward for merit, this is the basic principle of Marine and world government. But there are too many ways to reward people. The world government needs the strong combat power of the naval headquarters, but it has never needed the naval headquarters to have too strong combat power. What they want is always to maintain the balance of this sea. And I never thought that naval headquarters would wipe out all the big pirates in the first half of the Grand Line and the New World. Without the wreaking havoc and threats of countless big pirates, how can the world government collect heavenly gold, and how can it continue to weaken the power of the countries that join the world government? Politics is a superb art. Promote Galen's rank from Rear Admiral to Vice Admiral, and appoint him as West Blue Marine Inspector, responsible for inspecting the major marine bases in West Blue. With a combat power like Galen's, shouldn't he be transferred directly to naval headquarters and then fight in the New World? What on earth were those 5 guys thinking? Inside Naval Headquarters Marineford, Sengoku looked at the world government's commendation order and growled in a low voice. Since the beginning of the Great Pirate Age, countless pirates have gone to sea, and the strength of naval headquarters has also continued to expand. But compared to the countless pirates, the number of troops is still relatively scarce. Especially in New World, it is a paradise for pirates. The 4 emperors rule almost all the sea areas of New World. The naval headquarters sphere of influence in the New World only has a few marine bases that serve as nails. Sengoku and some righteous marine executives have always wanted to break into the New World, destroy the 4 emperors, and even completely end the era of great pirates. Executing Ace, and then attracting Whitebeard to siege and kill him, was an effort and trial made by Sengoku and others. For naval headquarters, every powerful combatant is precious. If you want to compete with monsters like the New World 4 emperors, only the same monsters can do it. In the world of pirates, only the top strong ones can decide everything. And Galen, who soon became a marine and was able to kill the White Owl on his own, undoubtedly has the potential to become the top powerhouse in the sea. But to fully realize your potential, you often need to go through constant battles with the strong. And put Galen in West Blue where there are only a few big pirates. Undoubtedly, it not only restricted Galen's further advancement in military rank, but also restricted Galen's further growth. However, it seems that the improvement of heroes' strength does not necessarily have to go through battles. They can also be upgraded through exercise. That's okay. No one can stop the growth of heroes. After Sengoku sulked at the 5 elders in the office, he finally reluctantly accepted the 5 elders' commendation appointment for Galen. Even though Sengoku is well aware that the five elders are intentionally limiting the growth of naval headquarters. But unless Sengoku and many marine executives completely give up their justice, sit back and watch the entire sea become chaotic. Otherwise, they will face the world government, which firmly controls all marine military expenditures. Sengoku has no countermeasures at all. Marine is also a human being and has to get paid to eat. Not to mention the various warships and weapons that are extremely important to Marine. These are all under the control of the world government. We can't let Marine bases all over the world raise their own military expenses, right? So what is the difference between Marine and pirate? Money is also an extremely powerful force in many cases. In the world of pirates, apart from the top powerhouses, the majority are often ordinary people. Bai Xiao died, Galen was promoted, and the Shichibukai looked at Marine with a new star. It was at this time that the four emperors of the New World noticed Galen in West Blue for the first time. That guy Bai Xiao died at the hands of a Marine newcomer. On Ghost Island, Kaido of the Beasts burst into tears while drinking heavily after seeing the news of Bai Xiao's death. Kaido once invited Bai Xiao to join his Beasts pirates when he was young. Kaido has always had a soft spot for those zone fruit users above the sea. But the next second, Kaido drank all the wine in his gourd. The tears in his eyes disappeared instantly and turned into an incomparable chill, and he said coldly, "What a waste. This sea can never tolerate any weak people." A dead Bai Xiao would not attract any interest from Kaido. A new star emerged from West Blue who is powerful enough to kill Bai Xiao. Marine's power has become stronger again. But who cares? Young ladies, there's a party. New World. On the Redfords, Red Hair threw aside the newsprint of Galen killing the White Owl and shouted loudly. Many cadres of the Red Hair pirates also immediately gave out banquet cheers. Just a Marine star who killed White Owl is not enough for Red Hair pirates to take it seriously. They are the Four Emperors group, and they have reached the top of the entire New World. Did Bai Xiao actually die at the hands of a Marine newcomer? We are all remnants of the old era. Whitebeard looked solemnly at the news of Bai Xiao's death. Neither White Owl nor Galen's power at this time was taken seriously by Whitebeard. Whitebeard doesn't care that Marine has one or two more rising Marine stars. After all, as the world's strongest man and the leader of the world's strongest pirate group, Whitebeard's enemy has never been Marine. But, years, Whitebeard is old. But, before I send all my children safely to the new era, no one can defeat me. Ku la la la, lousy is Whitebeard. Whitebeard looked at the captains on the Moby Dick who were laughing and laughing around him, with a satisfied smile on his face. Whitebeard's ambition was never to become the pirate king, nor was it to become the strongest man in the world. Being able to have a large family and live happily with them. For Whitebeard, that was enough. The red-haired Kaido and Whitebeard both had their eyes set on the rise of Galen, the rising Marine star. And making friends with a large number of emperors of the Dark World, as the big mom with the strongest intelligence among the Four Emperors group. He just glanced at Galen's information and immediately forgot about it. Well, everyone, let's have a tea party. This way I can eat delicious mousse cake. Big Mom said, drooling like a child in anticipation. A rising Marine star stuck in West Blue couldn't attract the attention of too many big moms. She has received information about Galen being honored by the world government. At this time in West Blue, they just learned that Galen was promoted to Vice Admiral of the branch. And Duke, who also serves as West Blue's patrol envoy, is full of surprises. He originally thought that after Galen killed Bai Xiao this time, he might be transferred to Naval Headquarters or New World. Unexpectedly, the world government actually kept Galen in West Blue. This is simply creating the best opportunity for Duke to monopolize the West Blue. As Marine Vice Admiral, Galen also killed the legendary White Owl of West Blue. Throughout West Blue, it has a great intimidating power. As the former savior of Vice Admiral Galen, the Valoran family corrected their evil ways and founded the Valoran Chamber of Commerce, dedicated to the welfare and development of all the people of West Blue. Galen Vice Admiral can't support it. And Galen Vice Admiral has fully supported it. What if those small countries or small forces in West Blue dare not to support it? That simply doesn't give Galen Vice Admiral face. Not giving face to Galen, Vice Admiral, is not giving face to Naval Headquarters and world government. In the entire West Blue, which country dares not to give face to naval headquarters and world government? The Flower Country said that they are still worried that Galen is a member of the world government, and it is not too late to hide from Galen. The Valoran family's lottery business, as well as its monopoly plan on daily necessities such as water, electricity, and other daily necessities, began to advance smoothly in West Blue. Some originally wanted to pick the peaches of the Valoran family lottery business, or the aristocrats who open a lottery shop themselves. I also gave up the idea after thinking about it for a while. Marine Vice Admiral, even if it is just a branch Vice Admiral, there is no doubt that he stands at the top of the power in the entire sea. Some people say that the most profitable industry in the world is finance or banking. But Duke never thought so. The finance or banking industry has never been a producer of money, nor has it controlled the most critical means of production. Industries that involve basic necessities such as food, clothing, housing, transportation, and water, electricity, etc. are the real huge profits. Duke doesn't have much ambition and just wants to set a simple small goal first. For example, the water and electricity provided by the Valoran family can be used by more than 1 billion people in the entire West Blue. In the dark, the Valoran family, as well as Graves, Set and others provide military deterrence. In the Ming Dynasty, Vice Admiral provides official support. The Valoran Chamber of Commerce founded by Duke began to develop rapidly in West Blue. At the same time, it has been almost a month since I came to West Blue. Bastiou Rear Admiral, who has never been able to solve the ocean disaster Gangplank, can no longer hold back. Have you finally determined the whereabouts of that guy Plank? Charge over and defeat them, Bastiou Rear Admiral said excitedly. However, we have not notified Galen Vice Admiral and completed the encirclement plan with Galen Vice Admiral. If we rush forward like this, Lieutenant Colonel Moore, Bastiou's adjutant, reminded. As the great pirate ocean calamity Gangplank who caused a lot of trouble in West Blue, he is not necessarily easy to mess with. Who do you think I am? Just a pirate from West Blue. I can definitely take care of him by myself. Everyone, full speed ahead, Bastiou Rear Admiral said firmly. When he first came to West Blue, he was a Rear Admiral, and Galen was still a Marine Colonel. But now, Galen has been promoted to Vice Admiral and became the West Blue Patrol Envoy. He's still just a Rear Admiral. If Gangplank is not killed and promoted to Vice Admiral, where will Bastiou's reputation as Rear Admiral go? Bastiou never felt that he needed Galen's assistance in dealing with Gangplank. He is about to be promoted to Naval Headquarters, Bastiou the same blade. Rear Admiral. Then, we are about to be promoted. Bastiou Rear Admiral, who has Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral combat power, was beaten up by Gangplank. If Galen hadn't arrived in time to support him, and Gangplank had deliberately held back, the Shark Sword Bastiou God Rear Admiral will probably become the Dead Fish Sword Bastiou Rear Admiral. Gangplank easily defeated Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral Bastiou. Then with the new Marine Branch Vice Admiral. After the news came out that the West Blue Inspector Galen and Vice Admiral fought without a winner for a day and a night, the reputation of Marine Calamity Gangplank and Marine Vice Admiral Galen once again spreads to West Blue. This wave is simply a win-win situation. Well, that means Galen and Gangplank each win once. Only Bastiou Rear Admiral is wounded in the world. Successfully achieved. Gangplank's reputation is so great that even when he arrives at some small West Blue countries, he doesn't need to plunder them at all. Those sensible nobles, wealthy businessmen and even kings of small countries would immediately prepare a large amount of wealth and respectfully send Gangplank away. In addition to beating the pirate ship Plank one by one on the sea, they were either conquered or destroyed. For those aristocrats and wealthy businessmen, as long as they were willing to pay, Gangplank rarely went on a killing spree. After all, those wealthy merchants and nobles are resources for sustainable growth. It's okay to cut leaks occasionally, but how can we pursue a sustainable development path if we even dig out the roots? West Blue has been regarded by Duke as its base. Gangplank defeated Bastiou Rear Admiral easily, and the reward was increased accordingly, directly to 120 million. He has become one of the few supernovas in the pirate world who has quickly exceeded 100 million in bounty before entering the Grand Line. This time, Plank's reputation spread directly throughout the world. Morgan's News Corporation, which was afraid of chaos, even praised Plank, saying that it was expected to enter the New World and challenge the four emperors. Even the high-ranking four emperors of New World paid attention to Gangplank for the first time. Even if you look at the entire New World, the pirate with a bounty of over 100 million is considered a strong man. The captains of the more than 40 pirate groups under Whitebeard mostly have bounties of just over 100 million, and have the combat power of Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral plus. Just this, plus the 16 captains of the Whitebeard Pirates headquarters. There is no doubt that the Whitebeard Pirates are the strongest pirate group in the world. In the entire pirate world, there are hardly more than 500 powerful men with Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral plus level or above. As for the Beasts Pirates and the Big Mom Pirates, the total number of pirate cadres with bounties over 100 million is less than 40. This was only the bounty that Gangplank had obtained shortly after he went to sea. If this trend continues, Plank may become a super pirate with a bounty of nearly 1 billion. The four emperors took a fancy to Plank's potential. But before Plank successfully entered the New World, the four emperors only paid attention to Gangplank and did not make any invitation. Plank does have great potential. But above this sea, the most indispensable thing is those short-lived geniuses. The strong reputation brought great convenience to Plank. But when Plank's name spread to the sea, it also meant that Naval Headquarters and the world government will also launch a more powerful encirclement and suppression of Plank. Only if Gangplank successfully survives the siege of Naval Headquarters and reaches the New World alive can he be qualified to face the four emperors. Not even Bastiu Rear Admiral is a match for Gangplank. Such a guy must not be allowed to continue to develop. Quote, he must be caught as soon as possible. Sengoku's face was heavy. He squeezed Gangplank's latest bounty order in his hand, and said solemnly. Although Sharkakuzu Bastiu only has the rank of Rear Admiral now, Sengoku and other marine executives know it very well. After Bastiu's Rear Admiral successfully flew and slashed not long ago, he already has the combat power of Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. The capture of Gangplank was originally just to let Bastiu Rear Admiral go through the process, add some achievements, and then promote Bastiu Rear Admiral to the Vice Admiral of the headquarters. But Sengoku and others never expected that Bastiu Rear Admiral, who had mastered the flying slash, was no match for Gangplank. This undoubtedly made Sengoku and others pay more and more attention to Plank. If it weren't for fear of causing greater panic and fueling Gangplank's arrogance, Sengoku would have directly set Gangplank's bounty at 300 million. A big pirate with a bounty of around 200 million often has to be dispatched by the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral to have a chance to catch him. Let me go to West Blue. I will personally chop off Gangplank's head in the name of absolute justice. Quote. After Sengoku finished speaking, Buster Call Vice Admiral Doberman, who had several scars on his face, said coldly. As a hawk in the Naval Headquarters, Doberman Vice Admiral believes in absolute justice and will do whatever it takes to win. In the case where Admiral of Headquarters and alternate Admiral mostly need to be stationed in New World and Naval Headquarters. An elite Vice Admiral like Doberman is already the strongest combat force that Naval Headquarters can mobilize in a short period of time. If it's not enough, add Vice Admiral Maynard. Sengoku said quietly Kaido. In addition, for this arrest, it is best to work with Galen Vice Admiral. We must catch guys like Gangplank before they grow into evil enough to harm the world. Either don't do it, or do it absolutely. One Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral with A-level combat power, plus one Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral with A-level combat power. Coupled with Galen, who is likely to also have Elite Vice Admiral combat power. 3 against 1, no matter how hard you think, you can't lose. Doberman Vice Admiral nodded seriously, and then rushed to West Blue with Maynard Vice Admiral, hoping to capture Plank as soon as possible. In the West Blue, Duke also had a slight headache at this time due to Gangplank's rapidly growing bounty and Naval Headquarters' vigorous pursuit of Gangplank. Gangplank's level has just been upgraded to level 14 at this time, and he only has the combat power of the A-level Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral. If they really have to face the encirclement of Doberman Vice Admiral and Maynard Vice Admiral, they will have to expose Galen or let the Valoran family fully support Gangplank. Otherwise, it would be difficult for Plank to get any benefits at this time. Of course, what troubles Duke the most is that he has no money. That's right, the patriarch of the Valoran family, the president of the Valorant Chamber of Commerce, and the behind-the-scenes controller of all lottery shop businesses in West Blue. Duke has no money now. Once completed, water, electricity and other factories can indeed bring a steady stream of terrifying profits to Duke. But before those water and electricity plants were built, the expenses were just as huge. Infrastructure is something that ordinary people cannot afford. Looks like it's time to play with the big pen. Duke's eyes gradually deepened. On the West Blue map in front of him, he directly marked 2 places with red dots. Mezenko Island is a supply point that must pass through for the heavenly gold collected by several kingdoms in West Blue. The 74th branch base of Naval Headquarters is stationed here. And the base director of the 74th branch base is the same as Galen. He also holds the rank of Vice Admiral of the branch. And he once personally captured several big pirates in the New World who had bounties of over 100 million. It is the Marine General specially sent by the world government to ensure the safety of Tianjin. He has a combat power comparable to the Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral. The officers of ordinary Shihai branch bases usually only have the rank of Rear Admiral, and their own combat power is often 2 or 3 levels lower than that of Naval Headquarters generals of the same level. Coupled with the powerful CP agents and Marine generals responsible for transporting the heavenly gold, and the crazy pursuit of the world government that they will inevitably face after plundering the heavenly gold. Countless people in the pirate world know that sky gold is a huge wealth, but there are only a few people who have the strength and courage to touch sky gold. Doflamingo dared to plunder the heavenly gold, but it was never his strength, but his background and the secrets he knew. When Doflamingo plundered the heavenly gold and became Shichibukai, it was far from the strength and power it has today. Most people don't dare to dream of gold in the sky, but Duke does. Anyway, it was Ocean Disaster Plank who started to plunder the gold from the sky. What does it have to do with Duke? As for the world government's crazy pursuit, Naval Headquarters now dispatched the elite Vice Admiral Doberman, plus the Headquarters Vice Admiral Maynard to hunt down Gangplank. It is only a matter of time before we send out alternate admirals or even admirals. Don't worry if you have too much debt. Lack of money will be Duke's biggest problem. After all, how can you become strong without spending money? As for the other red dot on the West Blue map, it is one of the biggest treasures known to Duke in the pirate world, the Baobao Navy's Baoyu Ice Cap. Within the Baoyu Ice Cap, there are countless treasures accumulated by the 8th Treasure Navy Army over hundreds of years. Only by mastering the supreme secret of the 8th Treasure's Navy, the Cone Dragon Cone Nail can open the Baoyu Ice Cap and then take out the hidden treasure. The Cone Dragon Cone Nail is the supreme secret of the 8th Treasure's Navy that combines armament hockey and Bachangquan. The powerful secret of being able to concentrate all of one's power into one point, and then completely crush the enemy it attacks from the inside out. Comparable to the armed color emission that only S-level generals and emperors in the pirate world can successfully comprehend. The 10,000 years ice of Baoyu Ice Cap, even with an ordinary A+ Shichibukai's combat power, is difficult to break without mastering its unique abilities. At least in his heyday, after Garp smashed his head and destroyed his Trionosaurus spike. Qingjiao broke his head, but failed to break the Jade Ice Cap. But Duke wanted to know whether the sharp axe of Noxus' hand could break through the ice of 10,000 years. The hand of Noxus is invincible, especially when the S-level lottery held by Duke drew a Black Cutter. Black Cutter, S-level equipment. After equipped, it can increase the user's health, attack power, and mental activity. And it allows the user's attacks to continuously reduce the target's defense and increase his own movement speed. The Black Cleaver was directly equipped by Duke in the hand of Noxus. The current hand of Noxus was also in constant battle with Seti, Graves and others during this period. The level has been upgraded to level 6, and he has the combat power of a Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. A few years later, the reward was only 210 million. Lao Kai, who also had the combat power of Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. After understanding the Cone Dragon Cone Nail, he can successfully open the Baoyu Ice Cap. Now, Darius, the hand of Noxus, who also has a combat power, holds the artifact Black Cutter. Duke feels that there is a high possibility that Darius will split the Baoyu Ice Cap. If it doesn't work, just wait until Darius reaches level 9 before trying again. Anyway, it is relatively easy to level up the heroes in the early stage. The hand of Noxus and Gragas, the wine barrel summoned by Duke before, took advantage of the night. Quietly left Valoran, when the wine barrel has written down most of the wine recipes he knows. It doesn't make much sense for the wine barrel to remain in the Valoran family. On the contrary, I am about to rob the heavenly gold. And Plank, who is destined to be chased by the world government, needs his help even more. Gragas and hand of Noxus Darius. Duke never exposed them to the world. The Valoran family is already powerful enough now. Even with a few more powerful heroes, it will be difficult for the Valoran family to open up a new situation in West Blue. Before we prepare for a complete showdown with the world government, concealing the strength of many heroes, scattering them among various sea areas and major forces is obviously more beneficial to Duke. Sooner or later, the power of the Duke heroes will cover the entire sea. But before that, Duke felt that he had to think of more ways to make some money. Duke has never thought of stopping at the water and electricity infrastructure factories all over West Blue. There is no way. In order to make more money, early investment is necessary. Infrastructure and farming have long been integrated into Duke's soul. 3 days later, Gragas successfully joined Gangplank's pirate fleet. And after beating up a large number of cadres of the Gangplank pirates, he successfully became a senior cadre of the Gangplank pirates. Gragas is very good at drinking and fighting. He was born to be a pirate. And successfully joined the Gangplank pirates in Gragas. The hand of Noxus also quietly arrived at the Jade Ice Cap, and was about to do something big. A senior cadre of the funeral home, Blood Duke Dracula, was wearing a gorgeous noble uniform, his whole body was pale and smelled of strong blood. Already arrived at West Blue. Are you the leaders of Shadow Stream? It's not easy to find you. Dracula casually threw aside the Shadow Stream member in his hand, whose limbs had been broken off and whose blood had been sucked out. He said in a deep voice to Dasbanus and the Lord of Shadow Stream, Zed. In order to determine the whereabouts of Zed and Dasbanus, Dracula tortured many members of the Shadow Stream. Now, as a price for wasting a lot of my time, I'm only asking once. Are you willing to join the harmonious and friendly family of the funeral home? Blood Duke Dracula grinned and asked arrogantly in an aristocratic tone. Of course, the answer to him was Zed's shuriken, and Dasboni's quick slash. Zed's shuriken plunged directly into Dracula's chest. Dasboni's quick chop even cut Dracula into 2 pieces. Blood splashed everywhere, a large amount of blood spurted out. But the next second, all the blood spurting out instantly turned back, leaving Dracula unscathed. It seems you are planning to refuse. That's a shame. Dracula took off his top hat and gave a gentle aristocratic salute to Zed and Dasbanus. There was a flash of blood in his eyes, and he said quietly, "Now, can you please die?" As a senior cadre of the funeral home with a reward of 320 million. Blood Duke Dracula is a user with the special Paramecia blood fruit ability. He can control blood at will, and even has weird defensive abilities comparable to those with Logia ability. Ordinary attacks are completely meaningless to Blood Duke Dracula. In other words, any Logia demon fruit power. In a world where strength is generally weak, it is difficult to find an opponent. Unfortunately, the enemy that Blood Duke Dracula faced was the one who controlled the power of Shadow, the Lord of Shadow Stream. Is this what devil fruit is capable of? The Lord of Shadow Stream, Gia, skillfully avoided a blood whip thrown by Dracula and said in a low voice, "What a familiar attack. But compared to him, your attack is too weak." A master of blood magic, Vladimir is also good at manipulating blood. Next to Gia, he was accidentally stained by a blood whip. Then a large amount of blood was sucked away in an instant. The pale face of Dasbanus moved the corners of his mouth slightly, and finally silently chose to retreat. Compared with Zed and Blood Duke Dracula, who are powerful enough to dominate the new world, today's Dasbanus is too weak. Rushing to join the battle will not only have no effect, but will become a drag on the calamity. But Dasbanus was determined that this would be the last time. He still wants to go to the new world with Shadowstream and become a hero famous in the sea. A hero never tolerates failure or retreat. A faint black aura began to appear on Dasbanus's hands. Duke never kept secrets about the training information of double-color hockey from the cadres and members of all forces under his command, including Capone, Beige, who has always wanted to rise to the top. Duke was willing to give those cadres time to work hard and catch up until they could no longer see Duke's back. With the system in place, the future for Duke and the heroes is limitless. Dasbonus wisely chose to withdraw from the battle. In a duel between strong men, if a weak one with insufficient strength rashly participates, it will only become a burden. This is also the main reason why most of the top experts in the pirate world choose to fight one-on-one. Too weak. I haven't heard anything like this for a long, long time. Blood Duke Dracula looked at the unharmed Zed in front of him, and his tone gradually turned cold. If your purpose is to piss me off, congratulations, you succeeded. Go to hell, you scum. Blood River Impact. After Dracula finished speaking, countless blood spurted out from all over his body, like a rushing river, trying to completely submerge the disaster. True blood flows against the river. The river of blood rushed, trying to cleanse everything, but in front of the extremely swift Gia. Although the blood river was vast, it was too slow and could not catch up with Gia's extremely agile figure. Seeing that the blood river attack was ineffective, Dracula's eyes sternly raised a sneer at the corner of his mouth. The river of blood exploded instantly and turned into countless blood arrows, shooting toward Gia like they covered the sky and the sun. This time, let me see how you hide. Countless blood arrows fell from the sky, and Gia could not avoid them. Countless blood arrows directly penetrated Gia's body and pinned Gia to the ground. But the next second, the figure of Gia, who was pierced by thousands of arrows, turned into a black shadow and disappeared into the void. Behind Dracula, the sharp blade in Zed's hand had pierced Dracula's heart. It is the forbidden secret of robbery, the instant prison shadow-killing formation. Those who can, but don't think that you can defeat me. His heart was pierced. Dracula looked surprised, but his body instantly turned to blood. He made a 180-degree turn, grabbed Zed's arm with both hands, and said with a sinister smile. Got you. Go to hell, bloodsucker. No, I caught you. Dracula grabbed both hands, and saw that all the blood in his body was about to be completely sucked dry by Dracula. Gia, however, was not in a hurry, raised his head slightly, revealed his dark eyes, and said coldly. The ignorant are doomed. After Gia finished speaking coldly, Dracula, who had not drawn any blood and sensed something was wrong, just wanted to withdraw. But in the next moment, a shuriken flashing with a strange black light was inserted directly into Dracula's chest. At the same time, Zed's shadow clone exploded instantly and turned into countless shadow shurikens, blasting Dracula's body full of holes. Dracula's blood fruit allows him to ignore most conventional damage. But faced with the extremely corrosive burst of shadow power and armament hockey, Zed wrapped around his shuriken. Not to mention it's just a special Paramecia blood fruit. Even the real Logia devil fruit cannot escape death. Dracula's remains collapsed to the ground, and in the distance, Zed's true figure quietly emerged from the shadows. My shadow is enough to defeat you. But don't worry, you won't be alone. Funeral home. On this sea, the killer organization only needs one. No one knows where Zed's true identity is. As someone with S+ potential and experienced a lot of fighting. Now the level has been upgraded to level 10, with A+ regular Shichibukai level 1 combat power. Gia is now the most powerful hero under Duke. Zed plans to let Shadow Stream enter the new world and begin to challenge the throne of the Killer King of the dark world of the funeral home. In a slaughterhouse in New World, we just learned that Blood Duke Dracula's life paper was burned out. Picro, the king of assassins who died at the hands of Shadow Stream, was filled with sadness and tears could not stop flowing. My dearest Mr. Draghi left me like this. This is really true. What a waste. When Picro said this, the tears in his eyes stopped instantly, and the expression on his face instantly changed from sadness to ruthless coldness. Mr. Freddy, you won't disappoint me like Mr. Dracula. Next to Picro, the top official of the funeral home, the Black Swordsman Freddy, who had a bounty of 490 million, wiped the sword in his hand carefully and said coldly. You can always trust me, just like I can always trust the sword in my hand. I told Dracula a long time ago that when facing a truly strong person, rely solely on Devil Fruit's ability. There's no way he's a match. Now, do you need me to go to West Blue in person to destroy the Shadow Stream? With a scraping sound, Black Swordsman Freddy inserted the fast sword 21 Ghost Slash into the sheath and asked coldly. Compared with Blood Duke Dracula, a senior cadre who only relies on his own fruit ability, Black Swordsman Freddy is undoubtedly more powerful. Freddy is a famous swordsman in the New World. He. Of course not. Why are you in such a hurry? With a weird smile on his face, the king of killers, Picro, rejected Black Swordsman Freddy's proposal. Although that guy Dracula is a loser. But it can kill Dracula without even having a chance to escape and seek help. That shadow stream is not that easy to deal with. Mr. Freddy, as a killer, intelligence work is very important. Picro said to Freddy with concern. I have already lost Mr. Dracula, but I can't lose you again. Although the funeral home is the most powerful killer group in the Dark World. But in addition to Picro, the cadre of the Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral Combat Force. There were only 2 people under Picro's command. The Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral's Level 1 combat power is enough to be considered a top player in the entire pirate world. Because of the death of Blood Duke Dracula, the funeral parlor temporarily postponed its attack on Shadowstream and switched to a full-scale exploration. And because Shadowstream killed the Blood Duke, a senior official in the funeral home, his reputation began to spread rapidly in the Dark World. The Valoran family who unified the West Blue Underground world, Garen Vice Admiral, Ocean Calamity Gangplank, and the Shadowstream who killed the Blood Duke and challenged the funeral home. There's really a lot of big news happening in West Blue these days. Big news. Morgans shook a glass of red wine in his hand, stared at some information about the Valoran family and Shadowstream, and said excitedly. What big news will you bring to the world next? I love big news. No one currently knows the deep connection between Galen and Ocean Scourge Gangplank and the Valoran family. However, the close cooperation between the Valoran family and Shadowstream has never been hidden from the eyes of interested people. The establishment of a huge killer organization was something that not only Zed and Dazbonis could successfully establish. The Valoran family, which unified the West Blue Underground world, helped a lot with intelligence, middle-level personnel, venues, and even customer recruitment. Morgans looks forward to a greater conflict between Shadowstream and the Undertaker. The Shipping King Umid and the Lone Shark King Field are also looking forward to Pietro's defeat. Among the kings of the Dark World, not many people liked Picro who smelled of blood. Except Queen of the Pleasure District, CP0 Stussy. Finally sat on the throne of the Dark World Emperor. And Stussy, who has placed many intelligence agents among the major dark forces. The most annoying thing is the new forces and new changes. Intelligence organizations and killer organizations are natural allies. World government has a lot of dirty work that is inconvenient to do, and sometimes it is outsourced to funeral homes and others through Stussy. Stussy and the world government behind it have always been eager to maintain the balance of the entire world. It would be best if the status of all classes and forces in the pirate world, including the world government, would never be shaken. The Valoran family's recent large investment in West Blue, as well as its connections with Galen's Vice Admiral and the funeral home. Let the world government also want to appropriately weaken the power of the Valoran family. Mr. Picro, you seem to have encountered a little trouble recently, do you need my help? Stussy covered her mouth and asked softly. The close connection between Shadowstream and the Valoran family is not a big secret. In other words, the shadow flow was originally predicted by Duke. In order to protect his money-making monopoly in West Blue, he specially displayed a sharp blade. Clearly protected by Garen's Vice Admiral, and secretly threatened by the Shadowstream killer, coupled with the growing power of the Valoran family. After the Valoran family develops many businesses in West Blue, anyone who wants to pick peaches must carefully evaluate whether he or she is qualified. Does Shadowstream still have the Valoran family that has unified the underground forces in West Blue? What a troublesome combination. Picro hung up the phone, scratched his head, tilted his head, and said to Black Swordsman Freddy. Mr. Freddy, a lot of people are looking forward to us entering the West Blue and fighting desperately with Shadowstream and the Valoran family. But you wouldn't do that, would you? Black Swordsman Freddy silently wiped the long sword in his hand while looking at Kaido coldly. As Picro's newest and most powerful cadre, Black Swordsman Freddy knows Pietro. Picro was never a murderous fool. If it were just a killer organization that could be easily crushed by a funeral home, Picro would destroy it without hesitation. But facing an organization that is enough to truly challenge Picro's status as the king of the killer field, Picro will instead be extremely cautious. The most important thing is that at this time, the Funeral House and Shadowstream and the Valoran family are at full war in West Blue. Regardless of victory or defeat, the Funeral House will suffer heavy losses. The West Blue is the domain of House Valoran. But this world is very, very big. He, Grand Line and New World are our areas. Freddy smiled strangely at Kaido, but his tone was extremely sinister. Sooner or later the funeral home will bury those who try to offend us. But now, Mr. Freddy, it's time for our next mission. We can't keep our customers waiting impatiently. A few days later, a big pirate in the New World with a bounty of hundreds of millions was beheaded by the Black Swordsman Freddy. For a time, the forces in the Grand Line and New World who were waiting for the funeral home and Shadowstream were both harmed and were planning to take advantage, and all stopped their little actions. There was a strange calm temporarily between Shadowstream and the funeral home. But in West Blue, a huge storm has been directly ignited. Mezenko Island, outside the 74th Branch Base. Countless pirate ships covered the horizon, surrounding the 74th Branch Base and several marine warships loaded with gold from the sky. Yes, Ocean Calamity Plank's fleet. Are they trying to rob the heavenly gold? This is simply against the world. Countless marines in the 74th Branch Base were horrified. The Vice Admiral Joseph of the Branch and Viper Snape, the CP agent leader responsible for escorting the heavenly gold, were even more pale. The reputation of Ocean Calamity Gangplank has already become famous around the world after his defeat of Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral Bastiu. But they never expected that this guy Plank would be so courageous that he dared to plunder the gold from the sky. A mere pirate dares to be the enemy of the world. This is simply asking for death. Joseph Vice Admiral drew his saber and pointed it at Plank, his words filled with seriousness. As Vice Admiral, a specially arranged branch of world government, Joseph believed in his own strength. What's more, he is not the only master present. Next to Joseph Vice Admiral, CP agent leader Snape's eyes had quietly turned into snake pupils, and his two fangs were dripping deadly venom outwards. The CP agent leader Snape is a Zone Snake Fruit Viper ability user, possessing the combat power of Naval Headquarters Vice Admirala. With the two of them working together, Joseph Vice Admiral believed that if not defeating Gangplank, it would be enough to hold him back. And as long as it takes 2 hours, with the support of countless marine bases around, they will continue to arrive and completely eliminate Plank, the ocean disaster. Unfortunately, they don't have that much time. Not a word is too much, and not a word is useless. The roaring and wailing are endless. The 74th Branch Base Fort and the Sky Gold Fleet, and Gangplank's pirate fleet, immediately started pouring artillery fire on each other. The 74th Branch Base is not like the one that was looted by Gangplank in the beginning and is in a state of decay. Strong forts, fierce artillery, and the firepower of the specially made Golden Fleet in the sky. For a moment, countless cannonballs stirred up countless waves on the sea, and also directly blasted a large number of Plank's pirate ships into pieces. However, the artillery fire of the 74th Branch Base is powerful, but the artillery fire of Gangplank's pirate fleet is even more powerful. The Abyss, whose hull was covered with countless runes, fired a large amount of artillery fire immediately, followed by the second, third, and even 10th round without stopping. Coupled with the volley fired by a large number of attached pirate ships, for a moment, the entire sky seemed to be covered in pitch-black cannonballs. The shells were like raindrops, and the countless smoke was like thick fog, gradually covering the entire sea and the surrounding area of Mezenko Island. The sight of both sides was obscured by gunpowder smoke. But those shells that keep cutting through the smoke and roaring to bring death, as well as the flashes of fire from time to time in the thick fog, as well as the never-ending wailing, indicating that this battle is becoming more and more fierce. The shadows in the smoke continued to grow larger, and the roar of shells being loaded and fired became closer and closer. Even the cracking sounds of the deck cracking and the mast breaking became gradually more clearly audible. The Marines at the 74th Branch Base, as well as the CP agents responsible for escorting the Heavenly Gold, all tightened their weapons. They knew that a brutal hand-to-hand battle was about to begin. The next second, in the smoke, a hideous and terrifying giant ship instantly cut through the smoke and appeared in front of Joseph Vice Admiral and Agent Snape. Young men, chop their bones into pieces and dye the sea red with their blood. I am the scourge of the ocean. On the bow of the abyss, Plank stood tall and proud, holding a gun in one hand and a knife in the other, shouting loudly. Behind him, a large number of pirate ships carrying blood and fire were also jumping out of the smoke at this time. The pirates cheered loudly, and under the leadership of Gangplank, they rushed directly to the dock and the warships docked on the dock. Joseph Vice Admiral, on the other hand, shouted that justice would prevail and faced Gangplank decisively. Several large warships loaded with gold from the sky were docked at the dock. Neither Joseph nor Snape could take a step back. Joseph waved his saber and struck Gangplank directly in the chest. Snape, on the other hand, said nothing and hid his figure among the crowd. Then while Joseph was attacking, like Lion Majesty, he suddenly stretched out his head and bit Gangplank's neck. Joseph's sharp saber flashed with black light, and Snape's curved fangs lurked deadly venom. With the two of them attacking, especially Snape's secret attack, an ordinary naval headquarters vice admiral might fall down with just one hit if he was careless. However, they met Gangplank, who was now level 13 and possessed the combat power of the naval headquarters elite vice admiral. Plank fired a special lead bullet directly into Joseph's heart. Before Joseph's saber hits Gangplank's chest, Gangplank's bullet will penetrate Joseph's heart first. Joseph hurriedly waved his sword to block it, and there was a ding sound. Gangplank's bullets hit a lot of sparks on Joseph's saber, and at the same time forced Joseph Vice Admiral to take a few steps back. Joseph Vice Admiral was knocked back by one of Gangplank's bullets, but Snape's snakehead had already approached Gangplank's head. Seeing that the deadly fangs were about to pierce through Gangplank's neck, there was a flash of fire, and a scimitar with blazing flames directly jammed Snape's deadly fangs. The strange and hot flames began to spread along Snape's fangs towards Snape's head and body. Snape suddenly felt severe pain, but just as he was about to pull away, his fangs were stuck by the scimitar. For a moment, he found it difficult to move. Seeing that the strange flames were about to completely cover Snape's head, Snape's heart skipped a beat and his long head suddenly spun around. He directly broke off his two fangs, and then quickly retracted his head. The fangs fell to the ground, and the venom splashed out from the fangs corroded many holes on the hard deck. Plank didn't care, he just jumped over the potholes and waved the scimitar in his hand. He pointed directly at Snape, who was covering his mouth, with blood dripping from the corners of his mouth, and his hair was burnt black, and said contemptuously, "Compared to that guy's venom, your venom is so bad." In Gangplank's memory, the venom of Cassiopeia, the snake's embrace, was undoubtedly more deadly than Snape's venom. Snape didn't reply, but looked coldly at Joseph, who was not far away with his snake eyes open, and said expressionlessly, "He's strong, we have to stop him here at all costs. God's treasure will never be allowed to fall into the hands of these untouchables." As the leader of the CP agents responsible for escorting the heavenly gold, Snape has already been completely brainwashed by the world government and celestial dragons. In his eyes, celestial dragons are the creators of this world and the living gods of this world. And the glory of God must never be blasphemed. Joseph nodded solemnly. Just one bullet made him understand the gap between him and Gangplank. But the heavenly gold of world government is right in front of him, and even if he dies, Joseph must keep these heavenly gold. The commands of the world government were absolute to a man like Joseph. But just when Joseph was about to desperately step forward to block Plank, a man with a round body, the fat man, who was holding the wine barrel and burping, stood directly in front of him. "Want a drink?" Of course Joseph didn't take the wine from Gragas. Just with a cold face, he swung the saber in his hand and slashed Gragas hard. He didn't have time to fool around with a drunk like Gragas. There was a flash of light and a bang. Gragas' left hand holding the wine barrel forcefully blocked Joseph's saber. A little blood kept dripping, but Gragas calmly drank the glass of wine in his right hand without spilling a drop. "Don't waste the wine," hiccup. Gragas took a drink, and the wound on his left arm began to heal quickly. Gragas' physique is different from ordinary people. For him, wine is the best healing medicine. Still drinking. "I'll see how you recover from this blow. Go to hell and decapitate me." Joseph looked at Gragas's gradually healing arm, snorted coldly, and swung the knife again. This time, Joseph aimed at Gragas' head. No matter how powerful Gragas is, Joseph didn't believe that Grog's head could heal after it fell off. Grog's head fell off and it was impossible to heal. But the premise is that Joseph must successfully chop off Grog's head. As the sword approached, Grog's fat figure disappeared without a trace in an instant. Grog's is a nimble fat man. The next second, a sandbag-sized fist mixed with the violent impact of Grog's round body hit Joseph's abdomen hard. Meat bomb impact, Grog's said drunkenly. Joseph's eyes widened in an instant, and his body became hunched, like a dehydrated shrimp, struggling constantly and being punched away by Grog's. Grog's, whose biggest hobby besides drinking and fighting, has been rising rapidly. Even if it is an ordinary naval headquarters vice admiral, Grog's may not be unable to fight it. And Joseph, although he is the vice admiral of the Marine branch deliberately selected by the world government. But the real strength is only slightly stronger than the ordinary rear admiral. It's fight time. Grog's narrowed his eyes and began to pursue the victory. Snape, who had originally expected to besiege Plank with Joseph, silently stood in front of Plank after cursing trash. As the CP agent responsible for escorting the heavenly gold, Snape had no way out. The battle is getting more intense. The Marine soldiers in the 74th branch base are well trained, and the CP agents responsible for escorting the heavenly gold are all elite. But the former captains and officers of the large number of West Blue pirates gathered by Gangplank are by no means ordinary minions. Suddenly, the dock of the 74th branch base was filled with a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Blood covered the pier, and the sea gradually became blood-colored waves. But the brutal fighting continues. Snape had just managed to avoid Gangplank's scimitar through the paper art snake body, and the next moment, a powerful bullet hit his chest. If it weren't for Snape's simultaneous activation of Iron Body and Armament Hockey, as well as the powerful vitality and recovery bonus brought by the Zone Fruit, Snape had already died from Gangplank's bullets and scimitar. Snape could no longer hold on for much longer. The injuries caused by being hit by a large number of bullets caused Snape's physical strength to continue to decline. Blood continued to spurt out, and Snape's eyes even began to have some afterimages due to the massive blood loss. But Snape remained expressionless, forcing himself to squeeze out the last bit of energy in his body. The 5 fingers were slightly bent together like a snake's kiss, and the arm twisted and turned rapidly like a snake's body, and stabbed Gangplank's heart fiercely. Finger pistol snake bite. The arms twist and thrust like lion majesty, coupled with the piercing of finger pistol. It was enough to dazzle an ordinary person, and then unknowingly be pierced directly to the heart by Snape's snake bite. In addition to being a viper fruit user, Snape is also a strong person in the 6 forms. But unfortunately, the huge gap in hard power. It is not possible to resist with some fancy 6 postures. Gangplank's scimitar accurately hit Snape's arm amid Snape's disbelieving eyes. It left a deep wound with bone visible on it, as well as a strange and blazing fire. Gangplank's scimitar is more deadly than his bullets. The fire continued to spread upwards along Snape's arm. Snape's eyes froze and he endured the severe pain. He groaned, pointed like a knife, and cut off his right arm. In the world of pirates, broken arms seem to have almost become a tradition. But Gangplank never thought of cutting off just one of Snape's arms. What he wanted was Snape's head. With a bang, not far away, Joseph Vice Admiral rolled his eyes and was punched into the sea by Grog's. The wounds caused by the bullets and the trauma of the broken arm made Snape's body start to tremble slightly. The defeat of Joseph Vice Admiral made Snape slightly absent-minded. And when he came back to his senses, a sharp sword light with blazing fire had already cut across his neck in an instant. Blood spurted out, the world spun, and Snape's head rolled to Gangplank's feet with several gurgling sounds. Then, he was crushed by Gangplank. The battles in the real pirate world can never be as innocent as in anime. Death and killing are the only truths in this cruel sea. Joseph Vice Admiral and the CP agent leader were defeated one after another, and the Marine soldiers in the 74th branch base were the first to collapse. And those elite CP agents responsible for escorting the heavenly gold put up a final resistance. Gangplank and countless pirates were all killed. Most CP agents are orphans adopted and brainwashed by the world government since childhood. The mission of celestial dragons and world government is absolute. The consequences of mission failure are even more terrifying to them than death. Half an hour later, Plank and others drove away in several marine warships that were still intact, loaded with gold from the sky. And in an icy wasteland near the West Blue Flower country, Darius, the Noxian hand holding the black cleaver, looking coldly at the countless treasures buried under the ice of 10,000 years, he jumped up suddenly and struck hard at the thick ice cap under his feet. The treasure location of the 8 treasures navy in the Kingdom of Flowers is not as difficult to find as imagined. And with the protection of 10,000 years of ice, the Babao Navy has never placed any treasure guards near the Baoyu ice cap. It is impossible for ordinary pirates and thieves to break through the jade ice cap. As for the strong man who can forcefully break through the jade ice cap and take away the treasure, he will die if the 8 treasure navy comes. Those wastes actually let those lowly pirates take away the gold in the sky. This is simply a provocation to the world. I propose that the admiral be dispatched immediately to execute the entire gangplank pirates. In the Holy Land of Mariajoy, the blonde 5 elders roared angrily after learning that the heavenly gold of several kingdoms in West Blue had been stolen. Over the years, in addition to the long-ago rocks and the original celestial dragons, Doflamingo has looted celestial gold. Gangplank was the first pirate to dare and successfully rob the sky gold. Kizaru is responsible for managing the scientific force and protecting the Holy Land. Aokiji and Akainu are also busy suppressing the big pirates in the New World during this time. Those guys in the New World gutter have been in a bit of trouble lately. I'm afraid it will be difficult for them to get out for a while. Curly Hair 5 elders said in a low voice. Then don't care about that pirate. No matter what, we must respond to this matter as soon as possible. The majesty of world government must not be offended. God's order is absolute. The bearded 5 elders look cold and kill Kaido. It's just that some heavenly gold was robbed. This kind of thing can't shake God's order. Just raise the reward and let the naval headquarters and CP agents vigorously encircle and suppress it. The slightly bald 5 elders shook their heads and said in a deep voice. Compared to the pirate who dared to plunder the gold from the sky, those revolutionary troops are our biggest problem. They recently overthrew another kingdom. Another kingdom overthrown. The bald 5 elders, who was embracing first-generation Kitetsu, had a sharp light flashing in his eyes, with endless killing intent, and said coldly. Those Ds, we should have killed them all in the past. The leader of the revolutionary army is Monkey D. Dragon. The D family has always been the natural enemy of God. The ocean disaster Gangplank's actions of looting gold from the sky soon shocked the whole world. Naval headquarters is also under the orders of the world government, in addition to the elite Vice Admiral Doberman and Maynard who were sent previously. He also quickly dispatched a backup Admiral T. Dolphin to pursue him. At the same time, Plank's bounty also soared to 470 million. Gragas, the Gragas, was also responsible for defeating the Vice Admiral of Joseph's branch. For the first time, the reward amount was directly increased to 130 million. The remaining cadres of the Gangplank pirates also received large increases in their bounties. Even before reaching the Grand Line, there was a bounty worth hundreds of millions. At this moment, Plank was no longer considered a so-called supernova, and has become a veritable big pirate. Of course, the premise is that he must survive the crazy siege by the world government and naval headquarters. Loot the gold from the sky. This sea is getting more and more interesting. Doflamingo laughed eerily at Dressrosa. He loves a chaotic world. Jinbei frowned slightly when he saw Gangplank's high reward. Gangplank wants to enter the New World, and the Fishmen Island is the only route that the Gangplank pirates must pass. It is undoubtedly very dangerous for a powerful pirate group to enter the Fishmen Island. Chihehehe, his shadow will definitely add a powerful zombie to me. Kaido, wait for me until I gather a powerful zombie army. I will definitely take revenge on you. Gecko Moria in the terrifying sailboat squeezed Gangplank's latest bounty and roared in a low voice. Empress Hancock's eyes lit up slightly after seeing the news that Gangplank had plundered the heavenly gold, and then she directly threw Plank's reward order aside. Just robbing the sky gold will at best prevent Hancock from taking the initiative against Plank. Only by beating or killing celestial dragons can you gain a lot of favor from Hancock. The bear and the sand crocodile were busy with their own plans. After briefly glancing at Plank's intelligence, they threw it aside. As for Mahawk, he never cared about the little things. How many times can the great pirate with a bounty of 470 million kill him? The bounties offered by the 7 warlords of the sea are never equal to their strength. Well, probably except for Moria, who was hit hard and turned into a weakling. Well, plunder the gold from the sky. What a bold newcomer, I like it. Big Mom said excitedly while eating the mousse cake. Go hand out tea party invitations to him, if he can become my family. That would be great. The wedding cake is going to be delicious. When Big Mom said this, he licked his tongue and saliva began to drip from the corners of his mouth. Big Mom wants to recruit the Gangplank pirates, and the other 4 emperors also expressed goodwill toward Gangplank. No 4 emperors would dislike having too many cadres under their command. The 4 emperors team also needs to constantly add new blood, especially super newcomers like Gangplank. As for the hostility of the world government caused by recruiting Plank, if they don't recruit Gangplank, wouldn't the world government be hostile to the 4 emperors group? The new world is not the domain of world government. Gangplank, who successfully robbed the sky gold, suddenly became the focus of the entire world. At this time in Valoran Island, Duke also looked at the skyrocketing wealth value on the system panel, his eyes shining. Recharge 44.2 billion wealth value. Host's current wealth value is 44.65 billion. Up to 20 billion wealth values can be consumed for SS level draws. SS level lottery, guaranteed to win S level prizes. Hey, we can do the SS level lottery now. But shouldn't the SS level lottery consume 10 billion worth of wealth? How did it become 20 billion? If the SS level lottery requires 20 billion wealth values, how much will the SSS level lottery cost? 200 billion, 400 billion, or higher. Who can afford this? Duke looked at the prompts issued by the system, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Duke is now vigorously developing lottery stores and monopoly projects such as water and electricity, which can probably bring him billions of dollars in revenue every month. But this is just revenue, not net profit. It is impossible for Duke to use all the income to top up the construction of the ever-expanding water and electricity factories, and the wages of workers are all big expenses. Even Blue Star, which had a highly developed productivity in its previous life, had only a few companies in the world with a net profit of over 100 billion a year. And looking at the world of pirates, Duke is even more confident. Apart from the heavenly gold of the world government, the only one with an annual income of hundreds of billions is the Gold Emperor Tezzolo. After all, with the golden fruit and the lucky fruit, it's hard not to get rich. The total sky gold of the several kingdoms of West Blue that Gangplank robbed is only 14.3 billion, leaving a wealth value of nearly 30 billion. It all comes from hundreds of years of savings from the Babao Navy. Well, Babao Sailor is simply a good guy. Duke silently gave the Babao Navy a thumbs up. The Babao Marines are called Marines, but they are actually pirates. Duke doesn't have any psychological burden at all when he robs pirates of their money. The SS level lottery turned into 20 billion. Although Duke was slightly sad, he looked at the tens of billions of wealth in front of him. Duke pressed the lottery button without hesitation. Isn't it just 20 billion? System, pump it for me. Compared with ordinary A-level or S-level combat power, only the peak combat power of the 4 emperors is surpassed. Only then is it possible for Duke to truly defeat the world government and then monopolize the entire world. Consumption of 20 billion wealth value. Host's remaining wealth value is 24.65 billion. Congratulations to Host for winning the SS prize, Gangplank's exclusive Skin Ghost Captain. Skin Ghost Captain. Ocean Scourge Gangplank's exclusive skin. After equipped, Ocean Calamity Gangplank can control the power of ghosts, and his attributes and potential will be greatly improved. Note: multiple skin attributes cannot be superimposed. What? Can you still hit the skin? And the skin can make the hero stronger again. Duke looked at the skin of his own Gangplank's Ghost Captain and directly equipped Gangplank without saying a word. At this time, Gangplank, who had just conquered another pirate group in West Blue. A blue light flashed quietly in his eyes, and the entire abyss also flashed a deep blue light in an instant. Ocean Disaster Plank. Level 13. Strength S. Physique S. Agility S. Spirit S. Potential S+. Possess equipment. Skin Ghost Captain. Possess abilities. ghost power, gunfire negotiation, cannon barrage, etc. Overall evaluation. S. Ghost power. You can turn yourself and Gangplank's belongings into ghosts, ignore physical attacks, and can penetrate objects. At the same time, ghost power can directly damage the soul. Gangplank once relied on pistols, machetes, bullets and sharp blades to become the recognized king of pirates. And now, having broken the boundary between life and death and controlling the power of ghosts, Gangplank is destined to dominate the entire ocean. The potential has been directly upgraded from S to S+, and the attributes have basically increased by 2 levels, coupled with the mysterious power of ghosts. In this wave, Gangplank directly strengthened to an epic level. Duke almost smiled from ear to ear. He was originally worried about how Gangplank would face the crazy pursuit of the world government and naval headquarters. After all, looting gold from the sky is no small matter. But now, Duke feels that it would be good to find the right opportunity to grab a few more waves of heavenly gold. As for what kind of ripples it will cause in the pirate world by constantly snatching gold from the sky, Duke said that Plank now has nothing to fear. Well, anyway, what does the gold in the sky that Plank grabbed have to do with me, Duke? I'm just the godfather of a small Valoran family in West Blue. The skin was drawn in the first SS level lottery, which gave Duke greater confidence in the future growth of heroes. After all, some heroes do have insufficient potential. But now, as long as you have money, you can take out skins like the God King Dark Star Source Project. What are you afraid of if your potential is weak? If you don't have enough strength, you can use Krypton Gold to make up for it. Sorry, if you have money you can do whatever you want. Duke thought of this, rubbed his excited little hands, and pressed the lottery button again. System, give me another SS level lottery. Consumption of 20 billion wealth value. Host's remaining wealth value is 4.65 billion. Congratulations to host for winning the SS prize, Jana, the hero of Storm Fury. Jana, Fury of the Storm. Grade 1. Strength, B+. Physique, B+. Agility, A. Spirit, A. Potential, SS. Equipment owned, none yet. Possess abilities, follow the wind, howl the hurricane, protect the wind, etc. Overall rating, A. As the legendary storm spirit, Jana possesses unparalleled power. She is the personification of wind, the goddess of storms. But the long years have caused countless people to forget their faith in her, and her strength has also weakened. But even so, she went beyond the limits of what a mere mortal could achieve. As long as she gets enough power of faith, her strength will further grow. Jana, the Fury of the Storm. Ha ha ha, SS has the potential and can further enhance its strength by collecting faith. This wave is simply taking off. Duke was so excited that he almost couldn't open his mouth from ear to ear, and then directly summoned Jana, the Fury of the Storm. Who wouldn't like a goddess who can make you so happy that you can't even breathe for just 998? Duke said he liked it anyway. Countless glimmers of light condensed, crystal white hair, cool clothes and eyes as soft and clear as the breeze. Jana, the Fury of the Storm, quietly appeared in front of Duke's eyes. The incarnation of wind, at your disposal. Jana bowed slightly to Duke and said softly, "So Jana, are you interested in setting up a smooth sailing ship in this world?" Duke said quietly, "Kaido. Jana can protect countless ships from storms on the sea, and can also make ships sail faster on the sea. With this kind of ability, in the pirate world with abnormal climate and traffic congestion. If he doesn't open a shipping company, Duke feels that he is simply short of Jana's abilities. Of course, the most important thing is that the shipping company operates well and is very, very profitable. Umid, who only monopolizes part of the underground world's freight, is one of the kings of the dark world. Well, just now I was laughing at the fact that the funeral home was in West Blue, a deep current Umid who suffered a big loss from the newly emerged Shadowstream organization. In a few days, I guess I won't be able to laugh anymore. Follow your will and I will follow the wind." Jana nodded slightly. Guarding those ships sailing on the sea is her job. Jana never leaves those who need her help. Of course, when facing those cunning thugs, Jana will also let them understand what the Fury of the Storm is. Duke and Jana briefly chatted about the development of downwind shipping, and then recovered their minds. Looking at the more than 4 billion worth of wealth lying quietly on his system panel, he pressed the lottery button heavily. The SS level lottery with 20 billion for one shot is really cool. The prizes are also very attractive. But Duke said that the S-level lottery of 1 billion shots seems to be good. It's definitely not because he, Duke, is poor now. System, give me 4 S-level draws right now. Duke roared lowly. Then, Duke looked at the 4 prizes lying quietly on the system panel, and his face burst into laughter. Did I win the hero gift pack? Consumption of 1 billion wealth values, host received S-level prize, Hero Blood Harbor Ghost Pike. Consumption of 1 billion wealth values, host receives S+ level prize, Hero Noxus lead Swain. Consumption of 1 billion wealth values, host gets S level prizes, Heroic Glory Executioner Draven. Consumption of 1 billion wealth values, host receives an A level prize and is equipped with a giant belt. 4 draws, 3 heroes, plus a piece of A level equipment. Although the A level prize giant belt was drawn in the S level lottery. But Duke felt that this wave was a real gain. What's more, if the giant's belt and the crystal bracers Duke drew before are combined with a burning gem, maybe we can put together another fanatic armor. System, extract all heroes immediately. Duke said excitedly. The next second, 3 tall figures quietly appeared in front of Duke. Death spat me out again. And I will bring an abyss to this world. Blood Harbor Ghost Pike knelt on one knee and said to Duke in a deep voice. The ghost of Blood Harbor rose again from the deep sea and became a death killer that frightened countless people. But now, he will devote his eternal loyalty to Duke. Destiny is endless and is as perishable as ordinary people. But my lord, you and your country will last forever. Possessing endless wisdom, the leader of Noxus bowed his head to Duke and said respectfully. Beside him, Draven tossed the throwing axe in his hand, lowered his head and said. The axe is in my hand, all I need is the prey. Do you need me to kill something for you? You don't need it now, but soon, the entire sea will become your hunting ground. Commander Swain, are you interested in rebuilding Noxus in this world? Duke looked deeply at the Noxian leader Swain in front of him and said quietly. Swain, Draven and Darius have all been summoned. Duke himself would find it unjustifiable if he did not rebuild a Noxus in the pirate world. Of course, the most important thing is that the 20-fold increase in wealth value in the SS level lottery makes Duke slightly worried. He also wants to draw out the star-casting Dragon King. SSS level lottery ghosts know how much wealth it costs. Duke wanted to know whether the country he founded and the currency he issued could also be recognized by the system. Duke decided to found a country and test a hypothesis. Follow your wishes, and you will be the supreme emperor of Noxus forever. Swain respects Kaido. As for how to build a country, Swain said that they have no problem with founding a country. He is the peerless, the resourceful general who single-handedly led Noxus from decline to strength, and is also the true founder of the powerful Noxus Empire. Swain and Draven quietly left Valoran under the cover of night. The pale crow that always hovers on his shoulder and the power of the devil can prevent him from anyone's detection. He will quietly meet Darius in the sea near the Kingdom of Flowers. Then head to the first half of the Grand Line, where Noxus is rebuilt. As for Blood Harbor Ghost Pike, Duke thought for a moment. Let him quietly join Gangplank in the sea. Although Gangplank's power has been enhanced to an epic level by the Ghost Captain's skin. But after plundering the heavenly gold, Gangplank faced more than just 1 or 2 enemies. In addition to the 3 admirals, Naval Headquarters also has 2 alternate admirals, a marshal, a chief of staff, a general instructor, plus a hero Vice Admiral Garp. This does not include Kong, the commander-in-chief of the World Government Army, and the masters hidden in CP0, as well as the strong men who can be recruited through the world recruitment at any time. World government can firmly rule the entire world for 800 years. What we rely on is never the so-called benevolence and morality and the distorted and obliterated history. But it is real and powerful enough to defeat all those who resist. Plank needs help. Most of the 4 emperors have star disasters or something like that, so it's normal for Gangplank to have a few more powerful cadres under his command. It's hard to stay in West Blue Gangplank, if you want to survive under the serious siege of the world government and the naval headquarters. Gangplank had no choice but to head to the New World as quickly as possible. New World is the real paradise for pirates. Blood Harbor, Ghost Pike, Swain and others all started taking action. Jana also turned into the breeze under Duke's instructions and quietly headed to the capital of Seven Waters. There she will start a group destined to crush all current shipping companies in the pirate world, Tailwind Shipping. But before establishing Tailwind Shipping, she needed a large number of sea-going ships. What is the most important thing in shipping? Is it the route? Is it the customers? Is it the relationship with the world government and the pirates? No, the most important thing is always the boat. In the world of pirates, only the city of Seven Waters has the potential to satisfy Jana's needs. As for where did the money for shipbuilding and the sailors come from? Jana said, naturally we have to rely on the endless specialties of the pirate world, those pirates. Perhaps most pirates choose to go to sea because of life pressure or dreams. But when they actually went to sea, the harsh weather, cruel environment, shortage of food and fresh water. There are also psychological diseases that are easy to develop if you stay at the sea all year round. It can often easily turn most young men with dreams into real pirates who commit evil deeds. Most pirates deserve no sympathy at all. Of course, those corrupt kings, nobles and celestial dragons who caused countless young people to be forced to go to sea are even less worthy of sympathy. Plank said that the king's nobles, including the Sky Gold, were the real targets worth plundering by the pirates. And the heads of the evil-doing pirates on the sea, as well as their wealth. Their ships, including those minions with bounties on their heads, will all make a huge contribution to the establishment of downwind shipping. This is called making the best use of everything, eating more than one fish. Jana can't just move the breeze. As Duke's most potential hero at present. At just level 1, she has a combat power comparable to that of the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. Given time, Jana's storm could even be enough to flood the entire world. But before Jana takes the world by storm, it's wise to make some money first. The Valoran family or the Chamber of Commerce, even with the secret intimidation of Galen Vice Admiral and Shadow Stream. However, the development and expansion of power are almost entirely limited to West Blue. The establishment and development of those water and electricity plants also requires a lot of time and money. The world government cannot even accommodate a kingdom of Germa that unites North Blue, let alone a behemoth that spans the 4 seas. The Valoran family, or the Valoran Chamber of Commerce, controls the underground order of West Blue. At the same time, becoming the most powerful chamber of commerce in West Blue is the limit that the world government can tolerate. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, Duke doesn't have many other things, but he has enough heroes. Summon heroes and let them bloom all over the world. Duke quietly acts as a behind-the-scenes boss, which seems to be quite good. Anyway, no one would think that I, the patriarch of a small West Blue Valoran family, have some friendship with Galen, Vice Admiral and Shadow Stream. Can you also directly control the world-famous Great Pirate Gangplank, as well as the soon-to-be-established Noxus Empire and the smooth sea transportation, right? Duke secretly thought that near the Kingdom of Flowers, Qingjiao, who had just discovered that the 8th Treasure Navy's centuries-old treasure had disappeared inexplicably, screamed at the top of her lungs. My treasure. It's over, it's all over. Garp, I'm going to hate you until my grandchildren. Since there was no one to take the blame for, it was natural that he could only pass the blame to Garp. What's more, if Garp hadn't knocked Qingjiao's head off, the treasure of the Babao Navy would not have been buried under the ice of 10,000 years. In the end, he was taken away by Darius, the Hand of Noxus. Garp picked his nose and lay down for no apparent reason. Grandpa, stealing such a huge treasure will definitely leave a lot of noise. I will definitely find the guy who stole the treasure and take back our treasure. Qingjiao knelt on the ground, dejected, while Lao Kai said angrily from the side. Treasures worth tens of billions will inevitably leave traces whether they are transported or used for cash. As long as you investigate carefully, you are likely to find some clues. But Qingjiao, who was kneeling on the ground and dejected, just glanced helplessly at the 10,000 years ice that was split into a canyon in front of him. He punched Lao Kai directly and punched a big bump on Lao Kai's head, and then said in pain. No need to check. After some time, prepare to get engaged to Heliza, the daughter of Babao Navy's pillar. It is impossible to conduct an in-depth investigation. Someone who can forcefully split the Baoyu ice cap and steal the treasure that the 8th Treasure Navy has hidden for hundreds of years without anyone noticing is definitely not an enemy that the 8th Treasure Navy can face now. As a well-known strong man on the sea, Qingjiao knows very well how strong the top strong men are. Yamato is terrifying. If you can split the Baoyu ice cap, you can directly destroy the current 8th Treasure Navy. Qingjiao made a painful and helpless decision. And when Lao Kai learned that he was going to be engaged to Erbao Navy Heliza, he immediately turned into a mask of pain. There are many beauties among pirates, but they are very muscular, with big shoulders and round waists, and their faces are full of flesh. Heliza, who also has a bunch of pretty boys, is definitely not a qualified marriage partner in the eyes of a normal man. Well, maybe Loki, the giant prince with unique taste, like Heliza's. Lao Kai was in great pain, but as the next generation of the Babao Navy, Lao Kai could not refuse his marriage to the Erbao Navy for the continuation and development of the Babao Navy. The current Babao Navy needs the support of the Erbao Navy. The 8 Navy armies in the Kingdom of Flowers are never monolithic. Rights and responsibilities are always relative. Time passed quietly, and the whole world seemed to be peaceful. The chaos in the New World quietly subsided after the Black Swordsman and Pyrecrow took action one after another, killing several pirates who wanted to challenge the funeral home with a bounty of over 100 million. Swain and the others had just arrived on the Grand Line and were still choosing a suitable kingdom to serve as the remnant of the Noxian Empire. Jana has just arrived in the Seven Waters capital and is placing a large number of ship orders to the Seven Waters capital. As for the Pluton drawings inside Frankie's body, Jana couldn't care less. She is the embodiment of wind, the goddess of storms. All the ships on the sea were meaningless in front of her. No ship can withstand the wrath of the storm goddess, not even the ancient weapon Pluton. Of course, the most important thing is that Duke knows that Pluton is now hiding in Wanokuni. Why grab the drawings when you don't have ready-made ones? If we really want to rebuild a Pluton based on the drawings, how much noise would there be and how much would it cost? Duke said that since he could spend money to create Pluton, he might as well find a way to draw more prizes. After extracting scientists like the great inventor and future guardian Victor, Duke might be able to build 2 battleships stronger than Pluton. This is definitely not because he has no money now. Duke thought with some sourness, and at the same time looked at the Grand Line in the distance. There are 2 huge treasures in the first half of the Grand Line. One is Captain John's treasure in the hands of Gecko Moria, and the other is the golden land of Sky Island. Well, Duke said, maybe it's time for Gangplank to stop by and visit Gecko Moria and Sky Island. If you don't pick up the treasure for free, you won't pick it up for free. That fat guy Gecko Moria, and the current god Enel, will definitely not be a match for Gangplank, who now has the combat power of S-Emperor and Deputy. Then, Gangplank led Gragas and Bloodport Ghost Pike, as well as a large fleet of 8,000 people under his command. They just arrived at Whiskey Peak in the first half of the Grand Line and were greeted by a warm welcome from the naval headquarters. As for the bounty hunters on Whiskey Peak who claimed to welcome pirates, after they learned that the pirate group that arrived at Whiskey Peak was the fleet of Ocean Disaster Gangplank, who had a bounty of 470 million. It was really full of singing and dancing, a great welcome. But it is a pity that whether it is Plank or the naval headquarters candidate admiral who is ready, as well as the elite Vice Admiral Doberman and Vice Admiral Maynard, they didn't care about the welcome of the bounty hunters. The battle started instantly, and Gangplank met the alternate Admiral T. Dolphin. Gragas, the rapidly rising level, faced off against the scarred elite Vice Admiral Doberman. As for Vice Admiral Maynard, Blood Harbor Ghost Pike, who has just joined the Gangplank pirates, said he really wanted Maynard Vice Admiral to see what the real abyss was. The Vice Admiral level strongmen of the naval headquarters Crusade Force were completely blocked by Gangplank and others. Gangplank, who is about to reach level 14, even completely suppressed the current candidate Admiral T. Dolphin. Gragas and Blood Harbor Ghost Pike are also at the upper hand in the battle. Then, the entire fleet of the Gangplank pirates collapsed. Gangplank and other heroes are indeed strong enough, but the strength of the captains and cadres of the pirate groups he conquered is really beyond recognition now. Most of the captains and cadres under Plank have bounties worth tens of millions or even tens of millions. For pirates who have just entered the first half of the Grand Line, such bounty and strength are not weak. Even against some of the naval headquarters officers, he could barely make a difference, and he might even be able to escape smoothly. Unfortunately, as soon as they followed Gangplank into the first half of the Grand Line, they faced an encirclement and suppression campaign by a large number of elite troops led by Naval Headquarters Alternate Admiral himself. Among the Marine troops encircling Gangplank, in addition to the Alternate Admiral and the Vice Admiral, there are many Rear Admiral, Commodore and Colonel. Plank's large fleet was completely defeated. If Plank hadn't upgraded to level 14 during the battle, then he severely injured the Alternate Admiral T. Dolphin and forced a bloody path. Gangplank and Blood Harbor Ghost Pike may be able to escape smoothly by relying on their own strength and diving ability. The flexible fat man Grogus might become a prisoner of Naval Headquarters. Then either be imprisoned in Impel Down, or have a public execution in Marineford. The current Duke does not have the strength to attack Impel Down, or dare to have a summit war with Naval Headquarters like the Whitebeard Pirates. Garp, Kizaru and others will not let the heroes of Duke go. Whiskey Peak was almost moved to the ground, and the bounty hunters also suffered heavy casualties. The news that Gangplank severely damaged the Naval Headquarters Alternate Admiral, forced out the elite Vice Admiral Doberman, and the Headquarters Vice Admiral Maynard and others instantly caused a sensation throughout the ocean. The world was in an uproar. Chapter 39. Big news, the ocean disaster Gangplank has powerfully defeated the Admiral siege, and no one can stop it across the sea. Big news, go to sea for 3 months, defeat the Admiral. The ocean disaster Gangplank's future is limitless, and he is destined to seize the throne of the Pirate King. Big news, first seize the gold in the sky, and then defeat the Admiral siege. The ocean disaster Gangplank has become the 5 emperors of the sea. Who else in the whole world can stop him? Big news. Above the sea, countless newsprints are scattered all over the world like snowflakes. The Alternate Admiral is also an admiral. Morgans only cares about attracting attention and making big news. He has no idea what kind of chaos those newsprints will bring to the world. Admiral is the world government and naval headquarters, deterring countless pirates in the pirate world and the highest combat power of the country. But now, Admiral has failed, defeated by a rookie pirate who has only been at sea for 3 months. Trash, all rubbish. In the holy land of Mariajoy, the 5 elders were livid, and threw the newsprint that Morgans had distributed in their hands heavily on the desk. Immediately send someone to warn that old bird, Morgans, if he dares to spread news that is detrimental to the world again. Then kill him, the blonde 5 elders said angrily. As the youngest member of the 5 elders, the blonde 5 elders have always had a hot temper. It is necessary to warn Morgans, but the most important issue now is that we must find a way to solve Plank's big trouble as soon as possible. No one expected that West Blue, a pirate who just appeared, would grow to such a point. It must be eradicated immediately. The balance of the world must not be shaken. The bearded 5 elders sighed and said in a deep voice. Just looting a sum of heavenly gold is nothing, but the pirate who looted the heavenly gold still has the strength to defeat the candidate admiral. And it is famous all over the world, which makes the world government a little uncomfortable. Not only was that guy Plank okay when he looted the gold in the sky, but he also gradually became bigger and stronger. Maybe I can do the same as Plank in looting the gold in the sky. If this continues, as long as Gangplank lives in the pirate world, as long as he makes some big noise, Plank's looting of gold from the sky will be mentioned countless times. And every mention of it will impact and shake the rule of world government. Unless Gangplank is killed as soon as possible, or Gangplank is directly incorporated. Blank is not so easy to eradicate now. Even if Admiral is dispatched, he may not be able to defeat him. Recruit him to become the 7 warlords of the sea. The curly-haired 5 elders wearing a hat thought for a moment and said calmly. As long as he becomes the 7 warlords of the sea, all his current fame will become the supreme glory that embellishes the authority of the world government. No matter what the 7 warlords of the sea think, in fact. All the pirates and kings on the sea naturally judge the 7 warlords of the sea as the lackeys of the world government. The world government has a mandatory summons to the 7 warlords of the sea. As for how to solve the problem that 7 warlords of the sea is now full. It seems normal to have 8 and 7 warlords of the sea. If that doesn't work, just pick a weak Shichibukai at random and eliminate it. No, let's just forget about that guy from Dover becoming the 7 warlords of the sea after plundering the heavenly gold. Recruit that guy Gangplank as a Shichibukai. Wouldn't robbing the heavenly gold become a shortcut to becoming a Shichibukai? If this continues, how many troops will we have to send to maintain the collection of gold in the sky? The world will be in chaos. The slightly bald 5 elders frowned and retorted. The world government recruits the 7 warlords of the sea to maintain the rule of the world government, not to bring greater trouble to the world government. Kill. Mobilize Marine Admiral. Dispatch CP0. At any cost, kill Gangplank completely before he enters the new world. The bald 5 elders, who embraced first-generation Kitetsu, made the final decision with a solemn tone. Only with the blood of Plank can the scum of the sea understand that the majesty of the world government must not be challenged. God's order is absolute. After the bald 5 elders finished speaking, the other 5 elders nodded in agreement after a moment of silence. Soon, Gangplank, Gragas, Blood Harbor Ghost Pike and others, the latest bounty order was released. Inside Naval Headquarters, Admiral Aokiji, who was urgently transferred, also yawned and quietly left Marineford on his bicycle. For the world government, Plank must be killed quickly. But in fact, Gangplank never robbed civilians or ordinary merchant ships. Some generals in the naval headquarters did not want to really fight to the death with Gangplank. Especially after even the alternate admiral was defeated by Gangplank. The justice of world government never represents the justice of naval headquarters. But alas, it is difficult for naval headquarters to disobey the orders of the world government. Especially when the world government controls all naval headquarters' military expenditures. There are only a few Marines who really don't need a salary and risk their lives to carry out their own justice. Anyway, Kizaru definitely needs a salary. Well, did you repel the siege of Marine candidate Admiral T. Dolphins? I really like him more and more. Big Mom looked carefully at Plank's latest bounty order in his hand. The bounty of up to 850 million made Big Mom's eyes light up and he said happily. Baron Eggy, go and send him the invitation to the tea party in person. He can choose my daughter, and I will give him the position of a general. 2 of his cadres can also marry my daughter. Well, if he becomes my family, I might become the pirate king soon. Gangplank has a bounty of 850 million. Gragas also has a bounty of 350 million, plus Blood Harbor Ghost Pike has a bounty of 150 million. There are also many pirate captains who are strong after surviving bloody battles and offering bounties worth tens of millions. Although Gangplank's pirate fleet suffered heavy casualties, its overall strength was slightly improved. Most of the pirates and captains in West Blue are very weak. But as long as they survive countless bloody battles, they will soon become stronger. The weak have no hope of survival in this cruel sea. This is how pirates grow up. Big Mom was extremely excited and sent Baron Eggman to recruit Gangplank. As for whether Plank will reject his marriage, Big Mom never thought about it. The invitation to the tea party is an iron law that countless pirates on the sea cannot offend. Big Mom is the king of the sea who stands majestically at the pinnacle of the new world. There is a huge difference between defeating an alternate admiral and defeating a real admiral. Big Mom launched a solicitation for Plank. Kaido of the Beasts and others, after thinking for a moment, granted Gangplank a position on the big billboard. Jack hasn't become a drought yet, but it would be nice to have an ocean disaster in Beasts Pirates first. Kaido of the Beasts has always wanted to form a powerful pirate group composed of a large number of Zone Demon Fruit powers. But this does not mean that non-demon fruit power cannot gain Kaido's favor. In other words, because of his personal personality and the lack of cadre combat capabilities of Beasts Pirates, Kaido of the Beasts has great interest in recruiting all-powerful people. Whether it is some of the Red Scabbard 9 who have been imprisoned by Kaido, or the Supernovas Apu and Hawkins who were later recruited by Kaido, they are not zone ability users. In the current 4 Emperors group, the backbone combat strength of Beasts Pirates has always been a big problem. There are 3 disasters and 6 Linkongs, but none of them are full now. Big Mom and Kaido of the Beasts successively launched recruitment campaigns for Gangplank. On Red Force, Ben Beckman looked at the slightly frowning red-haired man holding the Plank bounty, and asked with a smile. Why don't you try to recruit him? To be able to defeat the alternate admiral is such an incredible newcomer. The red-haired Shanks looked at Ben Beckman, who was staring deeply at him, and was silent for a moment. Then he gently let go, letting Plank's bounty slip fall from his hand and move with the wind. That kind of guy is not easily recruited by others. What's more, can he really reach the New World smoothly? The world government and the naval headquarters will not let that guy continue to mess around on the sea. The red-haired Shanks knows the Five Elders very well. As the controllers of the entire world, the Five Elders will never allow anyone who might shake the order of God to exist. Plank may not be able to escape the pursuit of the world government and naval headquarters. But Whitebeard doesn't think so. La la la, what a great newcomer. A man on the sea will never fall easily. New World is that guy's real stage. The Fifth Emperor. Whitebeard looked at the news about Plank's Fifth Emperor in his hand and laughed loudly. I will be in New World, waiting for his arrival. I'm Whitebeard. La la la. Dad is invincible. Whitebeard's laughter continued, and a large number of captains and crew members on the Moby Dick also burst into cheerful laughter. The emergence of Plank really shocked the world. But no matter what, the crew of the Whitebeard pirates firmly believe that Whitebeard is invincible. Except for Marco, whose smile was slightly forced. As the ship's doctor, he clearly knew that Whitebeard's physical fitness was declining bit by bit. The powerful shock fruit brought Whitebeard terrifying fighting power, but it also made Whitebeard's body. The repeated use of shock fruit has left behind dark wounds that are difficult to heal. Plank is famous all over the world, but Duke not only has no joy at all, but only endless melancholy. He originally thought that Gangplank could stop by Gecko Moria, the Fat Manse, and then go to Sky Island to collect Shandorla's treasure. As a result, as soon as he entered the Grand Line, he was surrounded and attacked by the T-Dolphins, Doberman and others. It's okay to finally break out of the siege and deviate directly from Duke's planned route. Behind Gangplank, T-Dolphin, Vice Admiral Doberman and others were still chasing after him. This made Duke feel a little uncomfortable. The Grand Line's climate is so unusual that magnetic hands are required to carry out an almost completely fixed route from one island to the next. The first half of the Grand Line is also the area where countless pirates suffered the most casualties. Gangplank now has no time to seize Captain John and Sky Island's treasure. Even if Jana hadn't transformed into a breeze, secretly boosting the speed of Gangplank's fleet. There may not be a few people left in Gangplank's pirate group. Naval headquarters and world government can continuously add strength in the first half of the Grand Line to support the T-Dolphins and others. Gangplank now doesn't have much time to recruit a large number of powerful subordinates. He must reach the New World as soon as possible and escape from the encirclement and suppression by the naval headquarters and the world government. He can forcefully defeat the siege of the alternate admiral, but what if there is a siege led by Admiral or Garp himself? The power of naval headquarters cannot be underestimated. Sure enough, relying on pirates to make money through plunder is really high risk and low profit. If you really want to make big money, you have to rely on commercial monopoly. Duke said secretly. This month, proceeds from West Blue's ever-expanding lottery shop, as well as part of Shadowstream's bounty. Even after deducting the production and construction expenses that need to be added to water and electricity plants. It also directly increased Duke's wealth by a total of $760 million. And this income will continue to grow as the water and electricity plant expands and slowly becomes profitable. The construction of water and electric power plants throughout the West Blue is the bulk of Duke's current financial expenditure. But Duke knows very well that all the efforts he makes now will bring him huge rewards in the future. If you want to make a lot of money, how can you do it without investing a little capital? Although the principal invested may be a little over 100 million. But I, Duke, have plenty of money. No matter how much money is spent on infrastructure and farming, Duke is willing to invest. Infrastructure farming will naturally make a lot of money in the end, but Captain John still has the treasure of Sky Island, and Duke has never thought of letting it go. The heroes under Duke's current command are inconvenient to take action, but the new heroes don't have this worry. Duke's success in the pirate world relies on nothing but having many heroes. System, give me a lottery draw. After taking a bath and burning incense, Duke pressed the lottery button. Consumption of 1 billion wealth value. Host's remaining wealth value is 410 million. Congratulations to host for winning the S+ level prize, Hero Scarlet Reaper Vladimir. Vladimir the Scarlet Reaper. Grade 1. Strength, B. Physique, B+. Spirit, B+. Agility, B. Potential, S+. Equipment owned, none. Possess abilities, blood contract, blood transformation, blood tide, blood plague, etc. Overall rating, B+. An ancient master of forbidden sorcery, Vladimir is one of the Noxian Empire's oldest mysteries. Shaping flesh and blood, controlling blood, Vladimir gained immortality from the inheritance of ancient dark descendants. And the long time has also made his wisdom and strength continue to grow stronger. Vladimir will one day surpass the limits of mortals and even rival the legendary Darkin. My power will be at your disposal, until this world becomes a river of blood. In the shadows, the pale Vladimir said respectfully to Duke. This is Duke's fifth hero with S+ potential, besides Janna, the Fury of the Storm, Ari, Zed, Swain, the upgraded Gangplank, and now Vladimir the Scarlet Reaper. A total of 5 heroes with 4 Emperor's potential, plus 1 Stormfury Janna with SS potential. If only they all reach the full level. Duke is planning to still stable for 2 more years. It's not that Duke doesn't want to take a walk around the Holy Land Mariajoy to see what Lord I Am looks like. By the way, we will also collect the people's fat and money collected by the world government over the years. That must be an unimaginable amount of wealth for Duke. But my strength doesn't allow it. The world government cannot be overthrown smoothly by 4 emperors and a sea overlord with SS combat power. Back then, Rox, with Whitebeard, Golden Lion, Big Mom, John Akoku and young Kaido, thought they could overthrow the world government. Then, during the Battle of God's Island, I don't know what methods the world government used. Anyway, in the end, Rox, the only overlord of the sea who was enough to challenge the world government, was gone. The defeat of the Rox pirate in the Valley of the Gods battle was obviously not possible just through the joint efforts of Garp and Roger. Before Roger successfully arrived at the Island of Gods, the Island of Gods had already turned into ruins. This is why Roger was able to pick up 2 babies in the ruins of the Island of Gods after the war. I don't know the depth of it, and Amu, who has lived for hundreds of years, has obviously surpassed the limits of mortals. In addition, the strongest ancient weapon Uranus is enough to suppress Poseidon and Pluton. The world government has at least 2 SSs, even more powerful. And SS below, think Garp, Sengoku, Commander-in-Chief Kong. Take away the 3 admirals in naval headquarters who are almost as strong as 4 emperors. There are also CP0 strongest shields and strongest spears that are comparable to Admiral 4 emperors. Plus 5 elders who have scars all over their bodies and whose strength is unknown, but who are likely to be at least no weaker than ordinary Shichibukai, plus a top swordsman who can defeat first-generation Kidetsu. The combat power that world government can deploy with all its strength is enough to make any force in the pirate world despair. The reason why the 4 emperors and the New World can always exist has never been because the world government did not have the fighting power to destroy the 4 emperors. It's just that the world government is unwilling. After all, without the garbage dump of New World and the threat of big pirates like the 4 emperors, how can the world government use this as an excuse to collect heavenly gold from the whole world, and how can it firmly control the world for hundreds of years? The so-called Grand Line, perhaps from the beginning, was never great. At least, the Grand Line and New World have extremely dangerous routes and very weird environmental climates. Even the Red Line, which divides the entire world, is so unnatural. No one knows what kind of secrets are hidden in that lost 100 years of history. Well, Duke doesn't want to know such a secret. After all, no matter how cruel and bizarre the historical truth is, it is impossible to directly overthrow the world government just by relying on some words and the so-called Joey Boy's will. Revolution is never a treat, it requires bloodshed and sacrifice. It is a cruel movement that requires greater violence to overthrow another violent movement. Well, fortunately Duke thought, give him some time and money. It doesn't seem that difficult to have a violent group that surpasses the world government. After all, cheating means you can do whatever you want. Duke thought of this, silently retracted his thoughts, looked at the respectful Scarlet Reaper in front of him, and said in a deep voice, "A river of blood in this world means nothing to me. I would rather have mountains of treasure than rivers of blood. Would you be interested in obtaining a treasure for me?" "Of course, your will." Vladimir bent down and saluted, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. The next day, Vladimir drove the boat and quietly sailed towards the Grand Line. His goal is to seize Captain John's armband from Gecko Moria and obtain Captain John's treasure at the same time. That would be a huge amount of wealth, no less than that accumulated by the Babao Navy Army over hundreds of years. Of course, before grabbing Captain John's armband, it is also necessary for Vladimir to kill some pirates in exchange for some bounties and upgrade at the same time. Although Gecko Moria is the weakest among the Shichibukai at this time, he still has combat power comparable to the Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral. It may even be stronger. After all, conventionally speaking, before others age, strength generally increases with the passage of time. But Gecko Moria is such a fat nerd. After losing to Kaido and all his companions died, he became addicted to creating an army of zombies. Gecko Moria, who intended to rely on external objects to defeat Kaido, ended up with his strength declining. I just don't know if Gecko Moria's strength has directly declined to its lowest point now. The strength of the A-level Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral, who once dared to challenge Kaido of the Beasts. And for Gecko Moria, who survived successfully, this is almost the lowest point. Vladimir needs to reach level 9 and have A+ combat power before he can steadily suppress Gecko Moria. As for the treasures of Sky Island's Golden Land, unless the current Gangplank can be freed up, or a hero with at least S combat power appears under Duke's command. Otherwise, Enel, who had already eaten the Logia Thunder Fruit and ruled Sky Island, would not be that easy to deal with. Vladimir started from West Blue and continued to hunt pirates while moving towards the Grand Line. He soon became a well-known bounty hunter in West Blue. Then, because he drained a Marine branch colonel who was trying to withhold the bounty on the Vladimir pirates. Vladimir, who also looted the Marine branch base. From bounty hunter to pirate, there is a reward of 35 million. In this cruel sea, the identities of bounty hunters and pirates, and even merchant ships and pirate ships, can often be interchanged at any time. But many times, the countless pirates on this sea, from the beginning, they may not have wanted to become pirates. It's a cruel sea and fallen world. It is not only the world government's celestial dragons that are corrupt, but also the kings and nobles. And among the Marines, many served all over the world, such as Colonel Alton, Rear Admiral Mouse and other officials. The sea is calm and the climate is peaceful, and the world is firmly held in the hands of the world government. It has long since turned into a pool of stagnant water exuding a putrid smell. In the first half of the Grand Line, Plank and others, who had just passed the food city but had no time to taste the food. After repelling another siege by T-Dolphin and others, they began to quickly move towards the next island. The pursuit of the Gangplank pirates by the world government and naval headquarters is getting more and more intense. The world government does not want to see Plank successfully reach the New World. Inside naval headquarters Marineford, Marshal Sengoku was looking at the bounty orders in his hand, his face livid. The Gangplank pirates are getting stronger and stronger. That guy Kuzan, hasn't he caught up with Gangplank yet? He is going to deal with the Gangplank pirates, not on vacation. Sengoku angrily threw the several bounty orders of the Gangplank pirates in his hand onto the desk. Gangplank escaped the pursuit of the T-Dolphin and CP-01 after another, and also killed many CP agents, which made the Five Elders even more angry. While constantly increasing the combat power to hunt down the Gangplank pirates, they are also constantly putting greater pressure on Sengoku. For example, reduce military spending at naval headquarters. Marshal Marine is not as good as he thought, especially when Sengoku was full of anger, sitting at his desk. There was also Garp, who looked like a hamster, with bulging cheeks and chewing senbei. Garp, you fool, can you be more serious for me? Sengoku was furious and snatched the bag of senbei from Garp's hand. Then, looking at the empty bag, he became even more angry. Asshole Garp, don't you even know to leave some for me? That bag of senbei is Sengoku's own collection. Cough cough cough. Garp swallowed all the senbei in his mouth with difficulty, then ignored Sengoku's rage and said seriously. The speed of the Gangplank pirate fleet is obviously abnormal. Kuzan didn't catch up with them in time, no wonder he. When it came to business, Sengoku suppressed his anger instantly and said in a deep voice, Kaido. I know, forget about Plank's abyss. But other pirate ships in Plank's fleet also have amazing speeds. They always seem to have the wind with them. Garp, tell me, is he helping Gangplank secretly? Or is Gangplank a member of the Revolutionary Army? In the world of pirates, the only person known to be able to stir up strong winds and help a large number of pirate ships sail with the wind is Monkey D. Dragon. Sengoku said this and looked at Garp faintly. Garp touched his head awkwardly and said haha. How could Plank be a revolutionary soldier? That's the great pirate known as the Fifth Emperor. If he is a revolutionary army, wouldn't Shichibukai and the Admiral headquarters be both revolutionary armies? Sengoku glanced at Garp suspiciously, causing cold sweat to break out on Garp's face. Because no matter how you look at it, civilians and merchant ships are never robbed. Gangplank, who only wanted to deal with the king, nobles and pirate ships, coupled with the extremely weird Plank fleet that always moves with the wind, it is really suspicious. Janna secretly helped Gangplank escape the pursuit of naval headquarters. Not the best. Sengoku looked at Garp, who was sweating coldly, snorted coldly, and roared in a low voice. But if he is really a revolutionary army, you know, the whole world is going to be in big trouble. World government doesn't care too much whether a new world is 4 emperors or 5 emperors. Pirates will never be the biggest threat to the world government. But if one of the 5 pirate emperors is actually a revolutionary army, with the strength and prestige of the 5th pirate emperor, coupled with the power and ideas of the revolutionary army, it is enough to pose a huge threat to the world government and even shake the balance of the entire world. Sengoku may not like 5 elders and celestial dragons that much, but he hopes that this world can maintain a relatively stable order forever. No matter how bad order is, it is better than complete chaos. This is the true justice of Sengoku. Is there any trouble in this world? Bigger than those guys? Garp looked at the serious Sengoku, remained silent for a moment, and then lowered his voice to Kaido. Compared to those guys, Blank and the Revolutionary Army are probably enough to be regarded as righteous. Compared to the endless ugliness of the Celestial Dragons, what do Gangplank and the Revolutionary Army mean? Garp has been unwilling to be promoted to Admiral, just because he is unwilling to wipe the ass of those Celestial Dragons. Enough. This is naval headquarters, not your home. Speak less. After Garp finished speaking, Sengoku quickly lowered his voice and said Kaido in a deep voice. Afterwards, the two looked at each other and fell into a long silence. Sengoku and Garp have a profound friendship, but their philosophies may not be exactly the same. After a long time, Sengoku casually put aside the reward orders of Gangplank and others, picked up the reward orders of Vladimir, sighed, and said in a deep voice. The blood fruit of Blood Duke Dracula in the funeral house seems to have been eaten by this guy. Another big, troublesome pirate. West Blue has been in so much trouble lately. Garp picked his nose and instantly entered a state of laziness. He flicked a booger directly on Vladimir's reward order and said nonchalantly. It's not that West Blue is in trouble, it's the marine branches of West Blue that have problems. If that hadn't tried to embezzle the bounty, this guy wouldn't have become a pirate at all. In my opinion, the entire marine world needs to be vigorously rectified. Those marines in the Seahai branch really need to be rectified. Sengoku shouted angrily. But Garp, you idiot, how many times have I told you not to play boogers for me? Also, I haven't even asked you to settle the account for eating all my senbei. In the naval headquarters office, Sengoku and Garp resumed their noisy routine again. Time flies by, and a large number of elites in naval headquarters are encircling and suppressing the Gangplank pirates. Vladimir went on a rampage in West Blue, after incidentally looting 2 more marine branch bases where corruption was rampant. Vladimir rushed directly into the Grand Line and started the first half of the Grand Line. A happy life of killing pirates and selecting the right marine base to loot. Endless blood is Vladimir's favorite. The powerful human quality of the pirate world provides Vladimir with a lot of delicious blood. Swain, Noxus and others also arrived at the first half of the Grand Line. During this time, he also chose his goal of rebuilding the Noxus Empire. The first half of the Grand Line, one near Calm Belt. On weekdays, there are not many pirates visiting the poor and backward non-world government countries. Kingdom of Columbus. Swain and others protected the civilians by fighting pirates and quickly became the heroes of the Kingdom of Goron. The next step is to completely rule the kingdom. The shipyards in the Seven Waters City are working hard to build the ships Janna needs. Plank and others are also moving quickly towards the Sabayati archipelago. As long as you arrive at the Sabayati archipelago and complete the coating, you can dive into the seabed, pass by the Fishmen Island, and reach the New World. The bottom of the sea and the New World are not territories where the world government and the naval headquarters can continue to pursue them wantonly. But before entering the New World, in the Sabayati archipelago, Gangplank and others had to face a fierce duel. Admiral of Headquarters Aokiji, as well as a large number of world government and naval headquarters elites, are already near the Sabayati archipelago and are ready. Naval headquarters warships were unable to catch up with Gangplank's fleet, which was secretly assisted by Janna. But they can stay near the Sabayati archipelago and wait. This will be a bloody battle. Before the bloody battle, Duke felt that maybe it was time for another round of draws. The pirate bounties that Vladimir obtained along the way, as well as all the property plundered from the Marine Branch base, which was heavily corrupt. Duke's current wealth has directly increased to 3.13 billion. System, just give me 3 S-level draws. Duke took a bath and burned incense, washed his hands carefully, and then pressed the lottery button. Then, looking at the system prizes drawn, Duke's face burst into laughter. Consuming 1 billion wealth values, congratulations to host for winning the S-level prize, the hero summons Nami Nami. Tide Summoner Nami, Grade 1, Strength, B, Physique, B, Agility, B, Spirit, B, Potential, S, Equipment owned, none. Possess abilities, Walk on the Waves, Prison of Blue Waves, Tide of Impact, etc. Overall rating, B. As a member of the Vastaya Sea tribe, Nami was born to be the darling of the sea. The waves dance for her, the sea water creates a prison for her, and when she is angry, the huge waves will crush everything that dares to stand in front of her. She is the daughter of the sea and also the queen of the sea. A hero with S-level potential is not enough to surprise Duke. But in the world of pirates, Nami, who can control the sea at will, is even more powerful than a hero with S+ potential. Stronger than 4 emperors. Big Mom can only passively wait for death after falling into the sea. For ordinary demon fruit power, sea water is a natural enemy that they absolutely cannot compete with. And even if it is a person without abilities, who can defeat Nami who has S-level potential in sea water? At least except for the mysterious I Am Sama, Duke could not imagine Nami who would fully realize her potential. Who in the sea is worthy of being her enemy? Nami is destined to become the true king of the sea. Nami was chosen in the first S-level lottery. Duke's face burst into laughter, and then he looked directly at the next prize. Consuming 1 billion wealth values, congratulations to host for winning the A-level prize and equipping it with Burning Gems. Burning Gem. When equipped, it can add a small amount of health and mental activity to the host. I won another A-level equipment in the S-level lottery. The smile on Duke's face froze instantly. He felt that he had been happy too early. But the next moment, Duke immediately came back to his senses and stared at the burning gem he had drawn. Wiping his eyes, he looked at the giant belt and crystal bracers he owned, and a bright smile filled his face again. Spending 1 billion to draw only 1 burning gem is indeed a bit of a loss. But if this burning gem is the last piece of equipment Duke needs to synthesize another outlaw armor, then this will be so worth it. Rounding it all off, this is a fanatic armor drawn directly. Although, the final synthesis of the equipment still requires 100 million of Duke's wealth. But it's only 100 million, and Duke doesn't care at all. The second piece of fanatic armor owned by Duke was newly released. Duke was not in a hurry to distribute it for the time being. Instead, he stared at the results of the last lottery with his eyes wide open. Consuming 1 billion wealth values, congratulations to host for winning the S prize hero Blade Shadow Tai Lung. Blade Shadow Talent, Grade 1, Strength, B, Physique, B, Agility, B, Spirit, B, Potential, S, Equipment owned, none. Possess abilities, End of the Blade, Cutting the Grass, Shadow Strike, etc. Overall rating, B. As one of Noxus' deadliest assassins. Talon as the Horn of Shinigami, the sharp blade in the shadows, the deepest darkness before dawn. Because of him, too many people will never see the dawn again. He is a born assassin. It's so exciting to draw another hero. Duke said with satisfaction when he saw Talon, who was drawn. For Duke, winning any hero is a gratifying prize. After all, the weakest hero also has the potential of being the first lieutenant. After 3S level draws, plus a synthesis fee of 100 million wealth points, Duke's wealth value was reduced to only 30 million in an instant. But looking at the two heroes standing respectfully in front of him, there was also another fanatic armor in the system space. Duke only felt that the money was well spent. The sea is calling me. And the waves will serve you. Titikalar Sameji gently swung her fish tail and lowered her head towards Duke. Live by the sword, die by the sword. My blade will plunge into the throats of all your enemies. In the shadows, Tai Lung, who was wearing a hood, said respectfully. Duke looked at Titikalar Nami and Tai Lung, nodded slightly, and then said in a deep voice. Then, please do it next. After Tai Lung thought about it for a moment, Duke sent him directly to Shadow Stream. Swain, Darius and others are now enough to rebuild Noxus, but Shadow Stream needs some heroes to join. The funeral home did not directly engage in an open war with Yingliu, but Yingliu's business. But the funeral home, which has been entrenched in the dark corners of the world for many years and has a large number of mid to high level killers, suppresses West Blue. It is impossible for Zed and Dazbonis to complete all the advanced tasks of Shadow Stream. Shadow Stream needs more combat power. Talon went to Shadow Stream and became an assassin in the darkness of Shadow Stream. And Nami went straight into the deep sea and headed straight for the Grand Line. Her stage is never on land, the sea is her home field. At the same time, compared to the famous Shadow Stream in West Blue, today's Gangplank pirates may need the help of Nami, the summoner of the waves. In addition, Duke also wants to know when a mermaid who is so powerful that he can make waves and drown everything returns to the Fishmen Island. What changes can it bring to the Fishmen Island? In this cruel world, Duke never forgets. The prerequisite for having countless wealth is to have enough power. Boxing is power, and power is also money. 5 million murlocs may be nothing in the eyes of the world government, but in Duke's eyes, they are undoubtedly an extremely powerful force. No matter how bad it is, using these 5 million fishmen to salvage sunken ships and raise seafood will definitely make a dead profit. The fat man Neptune sits on the throne of the Fishmen Island. Isn't it possible that Nami, the Tide Summoner, can't sit on it? Nami and Tai Lung both started their own actions, and after Duke thought for a moment, he directly equipped the second fanatic armor on Gangplank. Compared with other heroes, Gangplank, who has become a thorn in the side of the world government and naval headquarters, needs this equipment even more. Only when you are alive can you have output and can you upgrade and grow. After acquiring the outlaw armor, Gangplank, who was far away in the first half of the Grand Line, quietly flashed a light in his eyes, and his face became more and more rosy in an instant. You guys, let's go. Nothing can stand in our way. No matter the fire or the deep sea, they can't take my life. Target, New World, Gangplank shouted loudly, and then countless pirates roared with excitement. Gangplank's pirate fleet set sail again, leaving a large number of pursuing marine fleets far behind. With just one more island they can reach the Sabayati archipelago. Then dive into the sea, from the Fishmen Island, into the New World. New World is the real paradise for pirates. In the first half of the Grand Line, a pirate ship is burning. Why, you are obviously a pirate too, why are you attacking us? Lovis, the leader of the Hammer Pirates, looked at Vladimir in front of him and asked desperately. Around him, a large number of members of the Hammer Pirates turned into mummies one after another. Next, it was his turn. Pirate, no, I have never been the same as you. Vladimir turned his fingers gracefully, and a large mass of scarlet blood exuded a charming fragrance between his fingers. You are just prey. The most important thing is that in his country, there will be no need for pirates in the future. After Vladimir finished speaking coldly, he moved his fingers slightly, and a large amount of blood flowed out of Loviz's body instantly. The heavy hammer Lovis, who had a bounty of 23 million, died silently on the sea together with his pirate group. Lovis sacked a town 3 days ago, killed everyone, and turned the town into ruins. Then they met Vladimir, from hunter to prey in an instant. Duke doesn't like those pirates who wantonly and loot like crazy. Only a peaceful and tranquil environment can ensure the stable development of business. Pirates are destroyers, plunderers, and reapers, but they are not producers. In this world, Duke felt that he alone was enough to be the real reaper. All the rest of the pirates must either become producers obediently, or they must follow his order and become tourists in this sea. All the heroes under Duke's command, including Gangplank, have been fighting against the pirates who were plundering crazily. Vladimir is heading towards the thriller bark. The Gangplank pirates are about to land on the Sabayati archipelago. But just before the Gangplank pirates were about to land on the Sabayati archipelago, a pirate ship flying the Big Mom flag quietly approached Gangplank's fleet. Ocean disaster Lord Gangplank. Big Mom asked me to say hello to you. Baron Eggman said politely to Gangplank. Just saying hello. Gangplank stared at Baron Eggman and smiled faintly. As the scheming and ruthless pirate king of Valoran, Gangplank has been constantly learning about the combat power and intelligence of the New World 4 Emperors. Especially 4 Emperors Big Mom. After gaining the power of ghosts, Plank immediately set his sights on Big Mom. The task Duke gave to Gangplank was to wipe out and conquer the remaining pirate groups as much as possible while providing him with a large amount of wealth. And in the New World, what is more worthy of conquering than the 4 Emperors group, and what is easier to obtain a large amount of wealth than the 4 Emperors group? Of course it's not just about saying hello. This is an invitation to Mom's tea party. Mom hopes to see you at the tea party in 2 months. At the same time, Mother hopes to marry you. The daughters of the Charlotte family will be your choice. Mom hopes you can join the Charlotte family. Baron Eggy looked at the bearded man in front of him with cold eyes, and directly stated his intention without any nonsense. Marine and world government are vigorously pursuing the Plank fleet. If it weren't for the world-class intelligence capabilities of the Big Mom pirates, Baron Eggman had no chance to stop the Gangplank pirates before they landed on the Sabayati archipelago. Join the Charlotte family. What if I say no? Plank said in a deep voice. Behind him, Blood Harbor Ghostpike and Winebarrel Gragas also quietly appeared. On this sea, no one can refuse Mom. Baron Eggman glanced at Gangplank and the others, who gave him a strong sense of danger, and continued to speak politely, neither humble nor overbearing. As long as you join the Charlotte family, Mom is willing to make you the 4th general of the Big Mom pirate group. At the same time, in this sea, only Mother can save you now. A large number of naval headquarters elites are ambushed in the waters near Sabayati archipelago, and the admiral may even be dispatched. If you continue sailing, you will definitely die. The young snag has not yet become the 4th general, and the general is undoubtedly the highest-ranking member of the Big Mom pirate group besides Big Mom. The fact that the world government and naval headquarters dispatched a large number of troops to set up an ambush in the Sabayati archipelago cannot be concealed from the intelligence organization of the Big Mom pirates. In addition to being an extremely powerful army under Big Mom, the countless homies in the Big Mom pirate group are also. You can also become the ears and eyes of the Big Mom pirates all over the world. Baron Eggman doesn't think Gangplank can stand up to the admiral. Gangplank now joins the Big Mom pirates, and then rides on the Big Mom pirates' unique Homitz submarine. Avoiding the ambush at naval headquarters is the only way for the Gangplank pirates to survive. Avoiding an ambush at naval headquarters in a submarine. Looks like a great choice. Plank looked at a submarine floating quietly not far away and said with a chuckle. But this submarine cannot accommodate my pirate fleet. Baron Dandon lowered his head slightly and said in a gentle gentlemanly voice. There is no way a large number of submarines can avoid the eyes of naval headquarters and world governments. As long as you and the gangsters of the Gangplank pirates are still there, minions will be everywhere. Mother will give you a lot of powerful homies soldiers. Besides, we need them to continue sailing towards the Sabayati archipelago and attract the attention of naval headquarters. Believe me, this is the best way. Baron Eggy calmly gave reasonable suggestions. As for the number of casualties among the pirates who served as bait, who cares? On this cruel sea, the lives of ordinary minions are not worth mentioning at all. Are you asking me to give up my men? Who do you think I am? I am Plank, the disaster of the ocean. No one in this world can stop my progress, and no one can take my life. Gangplank stared into Baron Eggman's eyes, and then shouted loudly. I have a better way. That is, break through the siege of those marines and fight your way out. Young ones, are you willing to join me and teach those scum who tried to ambush us a lesson? Reputation is extremely important in this sea. A captain who abandons his subordinates will never be able to become a true overlord of the sea. Baron Eggman's proposal is never the best method, but it is definitely the most beneficial method for the Big Mom pirates. The strength and potential shown by Plank are too strong. Even Big Mom has to find ways to limit Plank's future. After all, Plank is not a member of the Charlotte family. Even if Plank successfully marries Big Mom's daughter, Gangplank will never become the captain of the Big Mom pirates. The Big Mom pirates are formed with blood as the link. Bloodline has also become the biggest constraint for the ordinary crew members of the Big Mom pirates. For example, even though Baron Eggman is far more powerful than most children of the Charlotte family, but he is still just a knight of all nations, and can never become a minister of the governing party of all nations. All the ministers of all nations are the children of Big Mom. Fight a bloody path from the front. Are you crazy? The true strength of Admiral is far beyond your imagination. Every Admiral is an unimaginable monster, and they are definitely not comparable to the candidate Admirals you defeated. Baron Eggman is still trying to persuade Gangplank. Recruiting Gangplank was a task assigned to him by Big Mom, and he did not want the task to fail. In Wan Guo, the price of mission failure is too high. Big Mom is a moody tyrant. Even her children are likely to take their lives directly after being disgusted by her. So what? I am Gangplank, Plank, the scourge of the ocean. Gangplank stared firmly into Baron Eggman's eyes, said with determination and righteousness. I will go to Big Mom's tea party, and I will arrive at New World smoothly. But it's definitely not like giving up all your subordinates and running away in panic. We can fight to the death, but we will never surrender. Little ones, let's set sail. Towards the Marine Admiral, towards the New World, towards death. Gangplank shouted loudly, and then, a large number of pirates who learned about all the decisions made by Gangplank immediately launched an earth-shattering shout. This is in the world of pirates. Countless pirates are already prepared to be buried in the sea the moment they choose to go to sea. And following a captain like Gangplank, he died at the hands of the Admiral of Headquarters. This ending seems pretty good. Most importantly, they believed in Plank. Gangplank always leads them to victory one after another, even with the Admiral of Headquarters, they may not lose. Gangplank's pirate fleet began to move forward amidst the cheers of countless pirate minions. Baron Eggman's lonely pirate ship and submarine looked so small and ridiculous at this moment. Madman, simply a madman. Such a guy is really willing to join the Big Mom pirates. Can Mom really conquer him? Baron Eggman had some doubts in his heart, and then after remembering the terrifying strength of Big Mom, he instantly shuddered and said firmly. Mom is invincible. On this sea, no one can refuse Mom. Even he can't be an exception. In the Big Mom pirate group, almost all members have a heartfelt fear of Big Mom. On the bow of the abyss, Gangplank looked at the large number of pirates around him who were looking at him with admiring eyes, with a mysterious smile on his face. As a once ruthless and scheming pirate king, Gangplank certainly cannot be as upright as he has shown before. If you really face an enemy that is difficult to contend with, you must give up the pirate minions under your command. Gangplank would say nothing and could even personally send all the minions under his command on their way. However, that was when facing an enemy that he was absolutely unable to contend with. A siege led by an Admiral of Headquarters. Today's Plank may not be able to defeat it smoothly. In the first half of the Grand Line, after experiencing an elite battle with the alternate Admiral T. Dolphin and a large number of naval headquarters and world government. Today, Gangplank's level has been successfully upgraded to level 15, and he officially has Admiral of Headquarters level combat power. Coupled with the breeze that has been secretly helping Plank's fleet, there is also the mysterious support from the sea. Gangplank really couldn't think of any reason why he couldn't break through the siege of an Admiral of Headquarters. In the world of Valorant, Gangplank once ruled his kingdom and fleet with fear. Then came betrayal and failure. In the pirate world, Gangplank wanted to change his way of life. For example, use loyalty and fame to control the sea. First of all, it is undoubtedly very important to establish yourself as a good captain who will never abandon his subordinates easily. As for how many casualties those minions will suffer when they break through the encirclement of the Admiral of Headquarters, who cares? Only those who have survived countless brutal battles are the elites that Gangplank really needs. Gangplank's pirate fleet is heading towards the Sabayati archipelago, and inside Naval Headquarters Marineford, Sengoku was looking at the latest information sent by the world government, frowned, and directly dialed Aokiji's phone number. Brew. On an ordinary warship in the waters near the Sabayati archipelago, Aokiji, who was lazily basking in the sun while wearing an eye patch, answered the phone. The Sabayati archipelago ambush plan has been leaked. The Big Mom pirates intend to marry Gangplank and have already dispatched a submarine, intending to carry Gangplank and some of the cadres of the Gangplank pirates directly into the New World. The remaining Plank fleet heading straight for the Sabayati archipelago is most likely just a decoy. Aokiji looked like Sengoku's phone bug in front of him, frowning and speaking quickly. The Big Mom pirates were able to rely on their world-class intelligence organization to detect the news that the naval headquarters and the world government were planning to ambush the Plank fleet near the Sabayati archipelago. CP0 Stussy, who has a good relationship with Big Mom, can also learn from the Big Mom pirates about the Big Mom pirates' plan to marry the Gangplank pirates. A marriage between the Gangplank pirates and the Big Mom pirates. That's a big problem. But, that's not necessarily the case. Aokiji looked far into the distance. In the distance, a strange-looking pirate ship was riding the wind and waves towards the Sabayati archipelago. On the bow of the ship, a tall figure holding a machete and a pistol stood tall, looking directly at Aokiji coldly. Naval Headquarters' ambush plan is simple. Send Aokiji Admiral on an ordinary warship to cruise near the Sabayati archipelago. When you discover the Gangplank pirate fleet, take it down or hold it back. Within half an hour, a large number of them wandered around the periphery of the Sabayati archipelago, avoiding the pursuit fleets of the naval headquarters and the world government, which caused the Gangplank pirates to alert and flee. Can surround the Sabayati archipelago. Make it impossible for the Gangplank pirates to escape. The plan was perfect, but the only fatal flaw was Admiral of Headquarters Aokiji. Can he really win or stop the Gangplank fleet for half an hour? Sengoku and the top leaders of the world government have full confidence in Aokiji. After all, the Admiral of Headquarters is the highest combat power of the world government, and it is the card of the world government that can suppress the world. Every Admiral of Headquarters is a real monster. Especially the current 3 admirals are the best among all admirals in the past. Each of them, even if they fight head-on against the 4 emperors, will not be at a disadvantage in a short period of time. Every admiral possesses peak S-level combat power. But now, Aokiji looked at the distance and was sailing very fast, having successfully entered the Plank fleet of Sabayati archipelago. Thinking of the cold eyes of the man who looked at me from a distance, I somehow lost confidence in myself. Aokiji sensed a long-lost danger in Plank. It seems that even if we don't marry the Big Mom pirates, the Gangplank pirates have become a big trouble. What a headache. Aokiji's originally lazy expression suddenly became solemn, and then he said seriously to the phone caller in front of him who had not hung up yet. Plank has led the Plank fleet into the Sabayati archipelago successfully. The plan worked, but the battle has just begun. After Aokiji finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Everything that happens next is not determined by the plan. As Aokiji said, the battle has just begun. The seemingly ordinary marine warship Aokiji boarded was closely following the extremely fast Plank fleet. Not long after the Gangplank pirate fleet landed on the Sabayati archipelago, it also landed on the Sabayati archipelago. At this time, in the 36th dock of the Sabayati archipelago, countless boatmen are under the treasure and sharp blades of the Gangplank pirates. Quickly code every pirate ship in the Gangplank fleet. When Gangplank set out from West Blue, he led a large pirate fleet of nearly 100 pirate ships and 8,000 people. After experiencing successive bloody battles, there are only 23 pirate ships and 3,000 elite pirates left. But in order to successfully complete the coding of these 23 pirate ships, even if there are a large number of skilled boat workers working frantically, it will still take at least nearly an hour. Quick, we must complete the coding of all ships within half an hour. We must not let those marines surround us all here. A large number of ordinary officers and minions of the Gangplank pirate ship loudly urged the coded shipwrights. They believe in Planck, and they are not afraid of death. But if possible, no one wants to confront the Admiral of Headquarters and countless elites of the Naval Headquarters. It would be great if we could successfully complete the coding and reach the New World without a bloody battle. It's a pity that all these are just extravagant hopes. Oh, it's really troublesome. If possible, could you please surrender? Aokiji's tall figure quietly appeared outside the 36th dock. At the same time, a large number of Marine soldiers are also rushing towards this dock. Big Admiral. Admiral is really out. Some of the minions in Planck's fleet looked at the Marine Admiral that quietly appeared in front of them, with great horror. What about Admiral? We are under the command of Master Planck, the calamity of the ocean. Don't think that sending out Admiral can stop Lord Gangplank. Master Gangplank, he will definitely become the Pirate King. The two captains and officers under Gangplank, who had a bounty of about 50 million, looked at each other. Then he took the initiative to face Aokiji with determination and no fear. In the world of pirates, there are a large number of extremely vicious pirates. There are also many heroes who are willing to sacrifice their lives for loyalty and their captain. Human dreams will never end. They know they can't become the Pirate King. But when Planck did not abandon the ordinary crew and enter the New World directly through the submarine, he has pinned all his dreams on Planck. They firmly believe that Gangplank will become the Pirate King. Aokiji looked at the two pirates who took the initiative to greet him and sighed softly. Then, the figure moved instantly, and at the moment when the two cadres had no time to react, they were turned into ice sculptures with a single tap. The countless remaining pirates and officers looked at the two people who were instantly turned into ice sculptures by Aokiji. Their eyes widened and they were about to rush forward. A cold air suddenly approaches, and the biting ice is quickly spreading towards the dock following Aokiji's footsteps. Aokiji wanted to freeze the entire dock, as well as all the pirates of Planck's fleet in the dock, with one blow. The ice was approaching, and many of the pirates who tried to charge immediately solidified into statues one after another when they came into contact with the ice. The pirate minions are retreating steadily, and the ice of Aokiji is about to freeze the dock and even the sea surface, destroying the coating operations of all pirate ships. An extremely hot sword energy, with raging fire, blocked the spreading ice. My subordinates are really indebted to you. But now, your enemy is me. Gangplank held a scimitar burning with strange fire in one hand and a hex pistol in the other, looking directly at Aokiji coldly. Behind Gangplank, the drunken Grogus and the taciturn ghost Pike of Blood Harbor, who exuded an aura of death, also quietly appeared. Captain Planck, it's Captain Planck. Captain Planck is invincible, nothing can stop Master Planck. With the appearance of Gangplank, countless pirate minions instantly found their backbone and began to cheer continuously. Alas, there is a bounty of 850 million for the ocean disaster Gangplank, and a bounty of 350 million for the wine barrel Grogus. Coupled with the fact that Blood Harbor Ghost Pike has a bounty of 150 million, it's really troublesome. Quote, are you really not considering surrendering? Aokiji sighed again, stared at Ocean Calamity Planck, and said in a deep voice. You have no chance of winning. You can only know the odds of winning by playing against them. Planck grinned and said, want to give it a try? Of course, my duty is here. Arrest you all. Aokiji is serious about Kaido, and his originally lazy eyes instantly became extremely solemn. If you can do it, then go ahead. Boys, plate our ships and wait for me to fight off this guy. Let's go to the New World together. Planck shouted. Then, a bullet wrapped around armament hockey hit Aokiji directly. The battle begins. Aokiji and Gangplank fought and retreated, deliberately avoiding shipyards and places where people gathered. Just the aftermath of a battle between top powerhouses may cause countless innocent casualties. Outside the 36th dock, a large number of Marine soldiers burned the mountain at the Naval Headquarters Elite Vice Admiral. And under the leadership of Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral Stirs, they approached the Planck fleet. On the seemingly ordinary marine warship where Aokiji stayed, it was obviously impossible for Aokiji to be alone. In order to destroy the Gangplank pirates, coupled with the ambush force, Naval Headquarters even dispatched a combat force that exceeded Buster Call. Beryl faced the elite Vice Admiral Huo Shanshan, and Pike faced the Vice Admiral Stieras. For a moment, it was difficult for the four of them to decide the winner. The remaining naval headquarters generals led a large number of elites from the headquarters and rushed directly towards the remaining pirates of Plank's fleet. But this time, the pirate cadres and minions under Gangplank were not defeated. Each of these 3,000 pirates who survived a lot of bloody battles is the best among the best. Admiral and Vice Admiral have Captain Gangplank and senior officers to deal with. Then these Marines are our enemies. All shipwrights, follow Captain Plank's instructions and code at full speed. No one can stop you until we are all dead. Captain Gangplank, you can definitely become the Pirate King. Several mid-level officers in the Plank fleet shouted loudly, and then bravely faced the Marine commanders. A series of bloody battles enhanced their strength. Gangplank never abandoned his men's charm and armed their will. Those once weak West Blue pirates have long been reborn. The fierce battle began, and among the boatmen who were working hard on coding. An old boatman with gray hair and glasses silently looked at everything in front of him and sped up the coding action in his hands again. What an outstanding pirate group. I hope they can reach New World smoothly. Pluten Rayleigh, who transformed into a coated boatman, thought to himself. Blood is flowing and fire is burning. But no matter whether it was gunfire or sharp blades, nothing could break through the solid defense line formed by the pirates under Gangplank. The pirate ships of Plank's fleet are being coated rapidly. But the Marines who were fighting a bloody battle with the Gangplank pirates were not panicked. A large number of Marine ambush troops are continuously gathering from the surrounding waters towards the Sabayati archipelago. Within half an hour, a large number of Marine warships were enough to surround Dockyard No. 36. Then they attacked from both sides and completely annihilated the Gangplank pirates. But before that, these Marine elites who are fighting bloody battles with the pirates under Gangplank only need to do one thing. That is to bite the Gangplank pirates and delay time. But unfortunately, it seems difficult for them to even do this. The battle between the elite officers of naval headquarters and the completely reborn pirates under Gangplank is hard to tell. But the elite Vice Admiral Huo Shaoshan, especially the Vice Admiral Stieres, was completely at a disadvantage at this time. Gragas, the wine barrel, relied on his special vitality constitution to exchange injuries with the Fire Mountain Vice Admiral. When he had several scars on his body, the righteous cloak of Vice Admiral of the Fire Mountain was also blown to pieces by Gragas' unique explosive barrel. Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral gasped for air, and after enduring the impact of Gragas' several flesh bombs, let Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral feel that his breath smells like blood. Gragas' powerful attack caused Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral to suffer serious internal injuries. But he still carried his katana nonchalantly and continued to confront Gragas. As a Marine, getting injured has become a habit. What's more, if he doesn't block Plank's senior cadre Keg here, then who can block him? Huo Shaoshan didn't want to cause a big trouble for Aokiji and the Marine soldiers under his command. He has always been a strong and gentle man. However, he can still continue to confront Gragas. Vice Admiral Stieres, the Vice Admiral who followed him into the battle, could no longer hold on. Blood Harbor Ghost Pike has S-level potential, although his level has not caught up with the wine barrel. However, after he entered the first half of the Grand Line, his own combat power quickly approached Gragas in the fierce battle. Even as time goes by, it is only a matter of time before Gragas becomes the strongest combat force under Gangplank. Some people are born stronger than others. This is the cruel and realistic world. Just when Stieres Vice Admiral barely managed to avoid Pike's suddenly extending bone-penetrating spikes, the ghostly figure of Pike in Blood Harbor disappeared instantly. Then, before Vice Admiral Stieres had time to react, Pike's bone-piercing spike fell from the sky. First, he directly cut off the saber in the hand of Vice Admiral Stieres, and then left an X-shaped wound on the chest of Vice Admiral Stieres with bone visible. If not for the obstruction by the saber, and at the last moment, Stieres Vice Admiral urged armament hockey to defend. Stieres Vice Admiral probably not only left 2 X-shaped wounds on his chest with bone visible. Instead, it will be divided into 4 sections directly. Vice Admiral was seriously injured and fell to the ground. The large amount of blood flowing out made the land even more red. But the fall of Stieres Vice Admiral was just the beginning. The moment Stieres Vice Admiral fell, the figure of Bloodport Ghost Pike mysteriously disappeared again. The next second, Pike's bone-penetrating spike had been driven hard into the heart of Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral. 1-on-1, Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral can barely hold on for a while. But 1 against 2, Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral could be defeated at any time. Even if Pike doesn't take action, just standing near the wine barrel Gragas is enough to directly reduce the strength of Vice Admiral of Fire Mountain by half. No one can face an assassin who may attack him at any time and still devote himself to dealing with the enemy in front of him. The Burning Mountain Vice Admiral fought back Gragas with a single blow just before the bone-piercing spike was about to pierce his heart. Then he pulled away suddenly, avoiding the fatal blow, but directly added a long and narrow wound on his body. The jagged wounds left by the bone-piercing spikes caused Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral's blood to flow rapidly, and the pain continued to come from his body. It also made Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral clearly understand that he could no longer hold on for much longer. But at this moment, there are still 10 minutes before the expected arrival of the Marine ambush force. These last 10 minutes will determine the outcome of everything. Hey, it looks like your subordinates can't hold on much longer. Wouldn't it be better to just be obedient and let us leave like this? I don't remember any deep grudge between you and me. You should know that I keep my hands off many Marines. Gangplank's long beard was covered with ice shards, and the scimitar in his hand was originally burning with fire. Like a candle in the wind, it seems likely to be extinguished at any time. But Plank's eyes are still extremely bright. With a stabbing sound, Gangplank's scimitar collided fiercely with the ice sword in Aokiji's hand. A powerful shock wave erupted instantly, causing the ground beneath their feet to crack. It also made the tall mangrove trees nearby sway slightly. Countless bubbles unique to Sabayati Archipelago were instantly blown away or shattered by the shock wave. A gorgeous scenery forms above the Sabayati Archipelago. But under this gorgeous scenery, there are 2 powerful men who can be called the top of the sea, fighting to the death. If I let you go like this, I can't explain it. Besides, how long can you hold on? The moment Aokiji and Gangplank exchanged blows, a large amount of ice began to spread around Gangplank along Gangplank's scimitar. The strange fire on Gangplank's scimitar also stretched along Aokiji's ice sword like a tangled thread. Fire burned in the ice, Gangplank's strange fire and Aokiji's bone-chilling ice, for a moment, strangely coexisted. With a bang, the scimitar and the ice sword suddenly separated. There were more ice residues on Gangplank's beard again, and Aokiji's body that seemed to be made of ice also inexplicably became a little more translucent. Even Logia can't avoid Gangplank's strange flames. I can last a whole year. But they can't hold on anymore. Gangplank grinned. He had just reached level 15, but compared with the peak S-level beings like Aokiji, there was still a slight gap. But if we really have to keep fighting with Aokiji, Plank feels. The one standing at the end may not be Aokiji. The outlaw armor on Gangplank not only provided him with a lot of vitality and physical strength, but also continuously restored his strength. In the distance, Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral, who had several wounds on his body, was already staggering and was about to fall to the ground with serious injuries. But until now, on the vast sea, the naval headquarters ambush fleet that should have arrived on time has still not been seen. In the waters near Sabayati Archipelago, a large number of naval headquarters ambush fleets have gathered together and are quickly rushing to the 36th dock of Sabayati Archipelago. There, the blocking force composed of elites from the headquarters such as Aokiji Admiral and Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral are fighting a bloody battle with the Gangplank fleet. Quick, 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 Stiera's Vice Admiral suffered a heavy blow and was defeated. Aokiji Admiral and Gangplank were unable to decide the winner for a while. The Gangplank pirates have become a pirate group powerful enough to threaten the world. They must be completely annihilated in the Sabayati Archipelago. On the ambush warship, the Marine generals, who had just learned that the Sabayati Archipelago Marine blocking force was in a bitter battle, were extremely anxious. Even after going through a series of battles with the Gangplank pirates. But after dispatching Admiral of Headquarters Aokiji, they feel that their so-called ambush fleet only needs to do one thing. That is to receive prisoners, and at the same time surround Gangplank's pirate fleet, check for leaks and make up for them. Some of the pirate ships that avoided Plank's fleet escaped from their pursuit again by relying on their weird speed. But they never expected that even if they dispatched the Admiral of Headquarters, they still couldn't take down the Gangplank pirates. On the contrary, those elite Marines who blocked it seemed to be at a disadvantage. Gangplank's pirate fleet is working overtime to perform coding. They really have to dispatch the Marine Admiral. With a large number of elites still in the headquarters, let the Gangplank pirates fight their way out and successfully reach the New World. The entire naval headquarters, as well as world government, including this so-called ambush plan, will be completely reduced to a laughingstock. It even shakes the authority of naval headquarters and world government in the entire world. Admiral is the highest combat power of the world government and naval headquarters to deter the world. No matter what, Admiral should not be defeated and cannot be defeated. At least, he shouldn't be defeated by a rookie pirate. The alternate admiral and some world government officials are anxious and want to rush to the Sabayati archipelago as soon as possible to encircle and annihilate the Gangplank pirates. But at this moment, the originally sunny weather suddenly became extremely weird. The wind began to howl and the sea began to surge. The terrifying hurricane broke the masts of many marine warships, and the raging waves made it difficult for the ambush fleet at naval headquarters to move forward. And amidst the strong wind and huge waves, a small blue bird and an extremely beautiful mermaid were swimming around. Jana and Nami worked together to become the nemesis of almost all fleets on this vast sea. Storm. Why is there a storm at this time? Is God also protecting that pirate group? Go forward, nothing can stop Marines' justice. For justice, justice must prevail. Doberman and other Marine generals had livid faces and kept waving their sharp blades to cut through the wind and waves. I have always been extremely lazy, like a street kid's candidate Admiral T. Dolphin. At this time, with a solemn expression, he cooperated with Doberman and others to defeat the storm. On this cruel sea, the weak succumb to the storm. But the truly strong ones rise to the challenge and defeat the storm. If the mast is broken, use manpower to support it. If the sail is cracked, repair it quickly. Even without sails, a large number of naval headquarters elites were rowing the oars and kept moving forward. There are a large number of strong men in the naval headquarters ambush force. Jana and Nami continue to create storms, but because their levels are still low. And in order to prevent himself from being directly exposed in front of the T-Dolphins and others, he did not use all his strength to stop the advance of the ambush troops. But if those ambush troops wanted to successfully arrive at the Sabayati archipelago within half an hour as planned and complete the encirclement and suppression of the Gangplank pirates, it was undoubtedly a fantasy. Time is ticking by. The Vice Admiral of Fire Mountain had just struggled to avoid a bone-piercing spike from Pike, and the fat body of Gragas, the wine barrel. But it was like a mountain bearing down on top, rushing towards him. Fire Mountain Vice Admiral was about to dodge again, but he knew exactly how terrifying the collision of Gragas was. With his internal organs damaged and massive blood loss, he could no longer withstand any heavy blows. But just when he was about to turn around and dodge, the massive blood loss and intense physical exertion caused his eyes to darken slightly, and his figure paused for a moment. Then, the moment he came to his senses, a huge force hit his body hard. Huo Shaoshan was directly knocked away by the impact of Gragas' flesh bombs. The violent impact made Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral in midair, and his muscles and face were constantly trembling and twisting. Then, with a loud bang, he fell heavily to the ground and lost all consciousness. The last drink before closing, next time. The wine barrel was covered in wounds, but most of them had begun to heal. Gragas took out a glass of wine from there. Watching Huo Shaoshan lying on the ground, Vice Admiral drank it all in one gulp. All the Vice Admirals of the headquarters were defeated, and the blocking force that was originally in a stalemate with the pirates under Gangplank's command. Also because of the defeat of Huo Shaoshan Vice Admiral and Shitier's Vice Admiral, their morale dropped drastically. Not only did they fail to successfully push the front into dock number 36, but they began to retreat steadily. If it weren't for the sound of Aokiji and Gangplank fighting in the distance. This group of marine blocking troops has been completely defeated. In a local battlefield with thousands of people, one or two powerful combatants who can free up their hands can completely dominate the battle situation. The world of pirates has never been about a world where more people have greater power. Those top combat forces standing at the pinnacle of the sea are the real key to dominating this world. Hey, they can't hold on any longer. Do you want to continue with me? Gangplank grinned, and with the hex pistol in his hand, he also aimed at Aokiji's chest and fired a bullet that entangled armament hockey. Gangplank's bullets pose no threat to Aokiji. Before the bullet hits Aokiji, Aokiji will leave a hole in his chest in advance for Gangplank's bullet to pass through. Gangplank's previous bullets could only distract Aokiji's attention and delay Aokiji's attack. But this time, Aokiji didn't get distracted and dodge, but instead stepped forward with all his strength. The bullet that entangled armament Haki left a blood flower on Aokiji's left shoulder, but Aokiji's right hand also instantly touched Gangplank's right hand holding the gun. Freeze moment. A large amount of cold air gathered all over Gangplank's body when he was caught off guard, and a large number of ice cubes suddenly appeared around Gangplank. But before being completely frozen by Aokiji, the scimitar burning with strange flames in Gangplank's left hand trembled slightly. Instantly shattered the ice around him, and then hurriedly retreated. It was just that he was hit by a lot of cold air. Even if he was not directly frozen into an ice sculpture, it still made Gangplank shiver several times and his body became much slower. Seeing Gangplank retreat in time, Aokiji did not pursue the victory. Facing enemies of the same level, if you can't seize the opportunity, you can win with one move. What follows is nothing more than a war of attrition that wastes a lot of time. Without a 3-day and 3-night battle, Aokiji wouldn't be sure to take down Gangplank. However, the Huoshaoshan Vice Admiral, the Stiera's Vice Admiral, and those marine blocking troops do not have 3 days and 3 nights left. Fortunately, Plank and others also ran out of time. Half an hour and it's already here. Aokiji's figure moved instantly, and he entered the dock directly before Gangplank could stop him. Then, he stretched out his hand suddenly, and a lot of cold air continued to spread on the sea. The next moment, the blue sea near the entire dock suddenly turned into a world of ice and snow. Ice Age! Aokiji roared, and the wound left by the Gangplank bullet on his left shoulder was dripping with blood, which looked so dazzling on the white ice. But Aokiji feels that he has already won. His mission has been completed. This time, the Plank fleet was unable to escape. But in the distance, on the vast sea, the marine ambush force that should have arrived in time was nowhere to be seen. Aokiji looked at the sea without a trace, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. He just wanted to help marine ambush the troops and defeat the pirates of Gangplank's fleet. The next second, Aokiji frowned tightly. Gangplank, who was supposed to be affected by a lot of cold air and moved slowly, now had a rosy face and stood coldly behind the marine blocking force. The hex pistol and scimitar in his hands were already pointed at his feet, and he had lost all consciousness. Only Stiers and Huoshaoshan Vice Admiral were still alive, with their chests still rising slightly, proving that they were still alive. Gangplank ate a few bloody oranges to relieve himself of the cold. Now, can we leave? Gangplank grinned, revealing his dense white fang, and said solemnly to Aokiji. The abyss, which had just completed coating in the dock, automatically extended a large number of cannons at this time, ready to bomb everything in front of it. Aokiji didn't answer immediately. He just looked at the pirate ships in the dock that had mostly been coated with a grimace. Then, he looked at the sea in the distance. The wind is blowing, the waves are surging. But on the horizontal line where the sea and the sky meet, Aokiji did not see any marine ambush fleet that should have arrived long ago. The ambush fleet didn't arrive in time, so there seems to be no way for the pirates to escape. It's really troublesome. Aokiji scratched his head, his whole body instantly became lazy, and he said lazily. As long as Aokiji is willing, he can completely destroy all the pirate ships in the dock. Including the pirates and coating workers on the ship, all were frozen. But what's the cost? Huoshaoshan Vice Admiral, Stiera's Vice Admiral, and the marine soldiers who bravely fought with him, and even the countless civilians of the Sabayati archipelago. They are very likely to die in the next decisive battle between the Gangplank pirates. The pirate who has lost all means of retreat will turn into the craziest beast and destroy everything in front of him. The most important thing is that even if all pirate ships in the dock are frozen, if we can't defeat Plank, then everything is meaningless. A captain who loses his entire crew is insane and deadly. Especially when the captain still possesses admiral combat power, it is undoubtedly more dangerous. Aokiji now has no chance of keeping Gangplank. The wound on his left shoulder was still slowly dripping blood, and Plank's breath. But strangely enough, it was recovering at an unimaginable speed. The passive of the outlaw armor begins to take effect. As long as Gangplank cannot be defeated directly at once, Gangplank with the outlaw armor will. The recovery ability will be even more terrifying than that of Luffy, the king who does sit-ups repeatedly when playing Kaido in the future. Aokiji has no point in continuing to fight Gangplank. This battle ends here. Enough blood has been shed. Aokiji's figure moved instantly and stood lazily in front of Gangplank. Then, the thick ice in the sea that had been frozen by Aokiji began to melt slowly. After Aokiji finished speaking, a naval headquarters commodore who had several wounds on his body and was covered in blood wanted to retort. But after looking at the bleeding wound on Aokiji's left shoulder and looking at the countless severely injured Marine elites on the battlefield, the naval headquarters commodore sighed deeply, then silently put away his weapon and began to rescue the wounded. Only by living can we have the value of realizing justice. What's more, even Admiral was injured. Even if they fight to the death next, what will happen? This battle had already failed before the ambush troops arrived in time. The battle was suspended, and the pirates under Gangplank, who were already desperate because of the freezing sea. He looked blankly at the wound on Aokiji's left shoulder and the melting ice. Then he looked at Plank, who had a rosy face and seemed to be unscathed. A moment later, there was an earth-shattering cry. "Win, we beat Admiral. Master Plank is invincible, nothing can stop Master Plank. Lord Gangplank, you will definitely become the Pirate King." The more than 2,000 elite pirates who survived under Gangplank's command were extremely firm in their faith at this moment. They firmly believe that Gangplank can become the Pirate King. After cheering, the pirates also began to rescue the wounded quickly. Among the coating boatmen who were about to complete their work, the gray-haired Pluton Rayleigh pushed up his glasses at this time, and a light flashed quietly in his eyes. What an outstanding pirate group. But it's too early, too early. Will he be the one the captain is waiting for? At the end of the Grand Line, in Raftel, there are secrets about Joy Boy and the new era buried. But the time of prophecy is far from coming. Luffy is the one Roger is really waiting for. In him, Joey Boy and all the expectations of the new era are also placed on him. But, there's a new era of so-called Joey Boy, who cares? Plank doesn't care, and neither does Duke. Because they all know it very well. When Duke came to this world, the era of Duke and the heroes had already begun. Gangplank let go of the two important bargaining chips in his hands, Styres and Vice Admiral of Huoshaoshan, and allowed them to be hurriedly carried away for treatment by Marine's medical staff. Then he put away his weapons and, together with Gragas and Pike, said boldly to Aokiji, "Hey, if you don't want to be a Marine that day, are you interested in becoming a pirate with me? I have a big plan. Maybe I can save a little blood in this sea." Duke once said to all his heroes, "Marine may not be their real enemy. Naval headquarters and world government are by no means one and the same. Being a pirate with you." Aokiji glanced at the man in front of him strangely, shook his head and said lazily, "I don't want to be chased by other Marines all day long. Also, I am also an admiral after all, so don't underestimate the justice in my heart." Aokiji's justice is lazy justice, or confused justice. After following the orders of the world government, killing his friends, and watching Ohara being completely destroyed, Aokiji is confused about the justice in his heart, or the justice in the world government. Who is the real justice? What is true justice? Aokiji didn't find the answer. But at least, he doesn't feel now that what Plank has done will be the justice he wants. Gangplank conquered and incorporated the pirate group along the way, only plundering the king's nobles, not civilian merchant ships, and at the same time, he basically did not take the initiative to attack Marine soldiers. This is another reason why Aokiji is willing to let go of the Gangplank pirates in the Sabayati archipelago. Ha ha ha, justice. Maybe one day, I can represent true justice. Plank grinned, and then, looking at the pirate ship that had almost been completely coated, he shouted loudly, "Boys, let's go. Target, new world. Target, new world, let's go." Countless pirates raised their heads and cheered. At this time, they are worthy of pride and cheer. Not all pirate groups can successfully repel the siege of the Admiral of Headquarters. Aokiji also has a large number of Marine elites, watching helplessly as the coated pirate ship slowly dives into the deep sea. In the distance, on the horizontal line where the sea and the sky meet, a large number of ragged Marines ambush the fleet, and then slowly arrive. But, it has no meaning anymore. They came too late. Trash, all rubbish. In the holy land of Mariajoy, the blonde 5 elders who had just learned that the Gangplank pirates had successfully completed the coating and dived into the deep sea cursed fiercely. There's no point in blaming those guys. Being able to injure Admiral, the strength of the Gangplank pirates has exceeded our expectations. There is nothing you can do about the failure of your plan. Curly hair 5 elders said calmly. Anger and scolding cannot solve any problem. Then let Gangplank enter the new world without hesitation. That guy will definitely cause an uproar in the whole world. The bearded 5 elders narrowed their eyes and said coldly. We must not let that guy go. As long as he is alive, he will be a shame to our world government. Order Kaixia Jinbei to intercept the Gangplank pirates with all his strength. In the deep sea, even Plank may not be his opponent. The bald 5 elders said solemnly. Not enough. Kaixia Jinbei may not be able to successfully intercept the Gangplank pirates. The bald 5 elders, who embraces the nonsense of first generation, have an extremely cold tone. Even Admiral Aokiji failed to stop the Gangplank pirates. A Shichibukai, even a fishman, has absolutely no hope of successfully intercepting the Gangplank pirates. Then significantly increase Plank's bounty and promote Plank's threat and strength. Didn't that old man Morgans call him the 5th Emperor of the Sea? I want to see if the current new world can accommodate a 5th Sea Emperor. The bald 5 elders said quietly. Most of the new world's sea areas have been ruled and divided by the 4 emperors. The Gangplank pirates, including most of the rookie pirates, have to gain a foothold after entering the new world. Or, you can only join the 4 emperors group and become a member of the 4 emperors group. Or, you can only find ways to challenge the 4 emperors, pull the old 4 emperors off the throne, and let yourself be successfully crowned. And can Gangplank, who is promoted as the 5th emperor, join the rest of the 4 emperors? The 5 elders don't think that the current Gangplank pirates have the strength to challenge the 4 emperors. Every 4 emperors group is a gathering place for monsters. In addition to the 4 emperors themselves, the cadres under their command should not be underestimated. After receiving the order from the world government, Kaixia Jinbei slowly searched for traces of the Gangplank pirates in the deep sea. Watching the Gangplank pirates go directly into the new world. The Shichibukai have never been loyal lackeys of the world government. Jinbei also doesn't want to offend the terrifying Gangplank pirates because of the world government's orders. He has already learned the news that the Gangplank pirates successfully repelled the siege of Admiral Aokiji. The next day, with the news that Gangplank defeated Admiral Aokiji, the Gangplank pirates' latest bounty order was released. The whole world was completely boiling. Big news, big news. 5 emperors Gangplank defeated the Admiral of Headquarters in the Sabayati Archipelago and officially entered the new world. Who will be defeated next? Big news, big news. 5 emperors Gangplank has defeated the Admiral of Headquarters and threatens to become the Pirate King. Gangplank's era is about to come. Big news, Gangplank has secured the throne of the Pirate King and wants to defeat the Whitebeard pirates and create his own era. Big news, countless news birds spread a large amount of news throughout the sea, advocating Gangplank and provoking the other 4 emperors groups. The 7 warlords of the sea watched the news that Gangplank had defeated the Admiral of Headquarters Aokiji. Except for Mihawk, the others fell silent. Except for Mihawk, the strongest combat power among the Shichibukai, there is undoubtedly a slight gap between the other Shichibukai and Admiral. The Admiral and the 4 emperors are extremely powerful monsters for most Shichibukai. But monsters also have strengths and weaknesses. Well, can that guy Plank do this? Baron Eggman, are you sure he will come to my tea party? Big Mom looked at Plank's 1.85 billion bounty in his hand, opened his big mouth, and asked Baron Dandan quietly. Of course Mom, he said he would come to Mom's tea party. Cold sweat broke out on Baron Dandan's forehead, and he hurriedly Kaido. Well, that's really great. After Big Mom got the exact news from Baron Dandan, his face was filled with a brilliant smile for a moment, but in the next second, it turned into a cruel and violent smile inexplicably. But why didn't you bring him directly to Cake Island? Baron Eggy, your mission failed. Mother. Baron Eggman's whole body began to tremble uncontrollably. In the Big Mom Pirates, the consequences of failing a mission can range from being deprived of part of your lifespan Or worse, immediate death. On this cake island, no one is afraid of the moody, cruel and tyrannical Big Mom. But I forgive you. Well, if we can successfully marry him, I can definitely become the pirate king. At that time, everyone on this sea can happily sit together and eat cake. That's great. When Big Mom said this, his eyes shone with hope, and his face had an innocent and bright smile like a child. Big Mom's biggest ideal is to build a country where all races and things in the world live together regardless of high or low. She hopes that everyone can become a family. Although Big Mom is also cruel and tyrannical towards his family. She once killed her own children with her own hands. Baron Eggy didn't have to be punished, so he was extremely happy and hurriedly complimented him. Of course, Mom is invincible. On this sea, no one can refuse Mom. The only one who can become the pirate king is my mother. Next to Big Mom, Katakuri, who was half leaning on the pillar, had a cold light flashing in his eyes. He believes in the power of Big Mom, but does not think that Gangplank, who was able to defeat the ocean disaster of the Admiral of Headquarters, would join the Big Mom pirate group so easily. With the spread of countless newsprints from world government, even in the New World, some pirates really recognize the strength and status of the 5 emperors of Gangplank. At least, they believe that Plank is definitely a strong candidate to challenge 4 emperors. Would such a guy be willing to succumb to the other 4 emperors? Oh, hey, 5 emperors. What a boring provocation. Real pirates don't just play house. I will wait for him here and tell that guy what a real pirate is. On the island of ghosts, Kaido of the Beasts casually scattered Gangplank's newsprint in his hand on the ground and started drinking wine. Among the scattered newsprint, the bounty on Gragas was directly raised to 500 million belly, and the bounty on Ghostpike of Blood Harbor was also raised to 430 million. The world government promotes Plank and at the same time drives a wedge between Plank and the other 4 emperors. You can't hide Kaido of the Beasts, who looks reckless and bold on the outside, but is actually sinister and vicious on the inside. Kaido of the Beasts may seem silly, but in most cases, they are actually quite clever. At least, he won't be as naive as Big Mom. Gangplank, who can defeat the Admiral of Headquarters, will easily join any 4 emperors group. Kaido of the Beasts has given up on recruiting Gangplank directly. As for the red-haired Shanks on the Redverse, Shanks had never thought of recruiting Gangplank. His identity is destined to make Shanks seem to be the freest man in the pirate world. But in fact, it is also the least free existence in the pirate world. The Roger pirates took away 2 babies from the Island of Gods. One of them is the red-haired Shanks. In other words, celestial dragons, Fegalon Street. Shanks. Young ladies, let's have a party. Shanks was silent for a moment, then ignored the newsprint from Plank and others, put a gentle smile on his face again, and said loudly. The Redverse was filled with laughter and joy. The Red Hair Pirates are the pirate group that likes to hold parties the most. Happy banquets always make Shanks look so free and happy. Shanks has already bet everything on the Chosen One, the new era. He and Luffy also had an agreement to fight. As for Gangplank, who is not from the D family and cannot be Joy Boy, who cares? This era is called Whitebeard. The only one who can become the Pirate King is you, Dad. On the Moby Dick, many captains of the Whitebeard pirates looked at the newsprint in their hands advocating for Gangplank and were very angry. It's not that they don't know that this may be the instigation of the world government. But their respect and love for Whitebeard still made them extremely angry. They believe from the bottom of their hearts that Whitebeard is the one who should become the Pirate King. Moreover, the conflict between the Gangplank pirates and the 4 emperors. Unless Gangplank joins the rest of the 4 emperors. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to avoid it. World government uses conspiracy. Ku la la la. I don't care about things like Pirate King. Because I have obtained the most precious treasure in the world. Whitebeard looked at his children softly, laughed and said. Don't fall for the tricks of the world government. But if that guy Plank really wants to challenge me, I'll make him understand that I'm Whitebeard. Ku la la la. Whitebeard's laughter spread across the ocean, and Whitebeard's reputation has already spread throughout the world. At least, until Whitebeard ages completely. He deserves to be the strongest in the world. But Duke doesn't care. He only cares that the Whitebeard pirates are poor people. It is the one with the least challenging value among all the 4 Emperor's groups. He neither explodes equipment nor gold coins. He is extremely powerful and has a bunch of powerful cadres under his command. Gangplank never thought about causing trouble for the Whitebeard pirates. Gangplank promised Baron Eggy that he would attend the tea party of the Big Mom Pirates. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.